Chapter 673. The fifth round of the tournament. The highlight of the show was on. The two combatants were Xiaofan and an Immortal with 3.28 million points. Even though the Immortal had fought in the fourth round and killed another Immortal, he was quite exhausted. However, his foundation was strong enough, and he had mastered many powerful Immortal arts, as well as a few mystical Immortal weapons. His offense and defense complemented each other. Against such an opponent, Xiaofan was ultimately immortal. Therefore, the Immortals below the arena, with the exception of Jia Lanzi, all subconsciously favored the Immortal. Below the arena. I keep getting the feeling that Brother Xiao is hiding some indescribable trump card. It's as deep as an ancient well, unfathomable. Jia Lanzi mused. As for the other Immortals, they broke out into a flurry of discussion once more. This time, Xiaofan will reveal his strongest trump card, right? Xiaofan killed Immortal too easily just now, so he couldn't show off his true strength. Now, Xiaofan is facing a powerful Celestial. Even if he can pass, it won't be easy for him, ha. He can pass. Do you really think Xiaofan can easily kill an Immortal? Just wait and see, Xiaofan will definitely lose this battle. Furthermore, he would die a horrible death. I've always suspected that Xiaofan obtaining such a large number of points in the fourth region, claiming to have killed more than 10,000 Celestials, was definitely not true. There must be a huge secret behind it. Perhaps he was just lucky. Everyone, watch carefully. In this battle, Xiaofan will show his true colors. In the arena. In an extremely short period of time, the Immortal had displayed the strongest combat power he could muster to the fullest. Immortal spell formations gushed out of his body, and 3 offensive Immortal artifacts floated above his head. An Immortal whip. A blood-stained saber. An Immortal painting. The 3 Immortal artifacts rotated endlessly, exuding an aura that could not be worn down by 1,000 tribulations. Xiaofan's aura was still as calm as an ancient well, without the slightest fluctuation of energy. Xiaofan appeared very calm, like a jade tree made of snow, aloof from the world. However, even though Xiaofan looked calm, the solid mental power planet in his brain was highly condensed. It should be noted that Xiaofan's mind power star had been strengthened once in the fourth region, making his soul and mind power much stronger. Therefore, Xiaofan's soul was able to transform into anything he wanted. Not only could he transform into a dagger, but he could also transform into a saber, a spear, a sword, a halberd, and many other weapons. Moreover, the quality of the weapons that Xiaofan transformed into was comparable to the magical treasures that ordinary level 3 true Immortals used in the Immortal world. This time, Xiaofan did not transform into a dagger. Instead, he transformed into a terrifying needle-shaped weapon. Xiaofan. You're too pretentious. You're still pretending to be lazy when facing me. You're too arrogant. The Celestial's eyes were red and filled with killing intent. I really don't know where your confidence comes from. Xiaofan, I also know that you have an Immortal artifact dagger. The attack of this Immortal artifact dagger is extremely fast and indestructible. Do you think that you can defeat me with just this dagger? Ha. Then come at me all you want. Among the 3 magical treasures that I've refined, this landscape of the great path of rivers and mountains is a combination of offense and defense. When you attack, this landscape of the great path of rivers and mountains can instantly defend and turn defense into offense. When I killed that idiot just now, I didn't use this landscape of the great path of rivers and mountains. Now that I'm facing you, I'll show you the true power of this powerful magical treasure so that your death will be worth it. Above the Celestial's head, the landscape of rivers and mountains fluttered in the wind like a flag. It radiated the terrifying aura of an invincible king. What an amazing magical treasure! The Celestials below the arena cheered inwardly. I'd like to see how Xiaofan can break through this magical treasure. In the arena, Xiaofan was fearless. "I won't waste any more words. Watch me kill you." Suddenly, Xiaohan's mind flickered, and a dagger was instantly formed from his soul force. The dagger flashed with a cold light. "Ha ha ha. Xiaofan, come at me. Let's see if your dagger is faster or my immortal treasure is faster." The Celestial laughed hideously. In a flash, Xiaohan's mind flashed, and the dagger was already stabbing toward the Celestial at lightning speed. This speed was extremely fast. If he didn't prepare his defense in advance, he would definitely be hit. However, the Celestial had already predicted Xiaohan's attack. Therefore, as soon as Xiaohan's dagger stabbed toward him, the landscape of immortals above the Celestial's head swept out. 10,000-li gale. All living beings in the mortal world appeared in an instant. At this critical moment, Xiaohan's soul dagger was wrapped up by the landscape of the great path of rivers and mountains. Indeed, as the Celestial had said, Xiaohan's dagger was fast enough. However, the Celestial's immortal treasure was also fast enough to defend. It was just a hair faster than Xiaohan's dagger. "Ha ha ha. Xiaohan, what other tricks do you have? Use them all. Ha ha ha. When you're at your wit's end, it'll be my chance to kill you." The Celestial was relieved. Although he had spoken confidently before, he was still worried that Xiaohan had a way to break through his treasure. However, Xiaohan's dagger was extremely fast, but it was still blocked by the Celestial's treasure. This made him completely relieved. "Xiaohan, speaking of which, I have to thank you. Ha ha ha. After killing you, your 3 million points will be mine. Then, I'll have accumulated more than 6 million points, enough to exchange for a key to the 3rd floor. Ha ha ha. What a surprise, I'll be the first person to stand out in the arena and enter the 3rd floor. Ha ha ha." Outside the arena, he blocked it. Xiaohan's attack was blocked. The Celestials focused their gazes. Xiaohan is going to die. In the arena, Xiaohan's expression was calm. He seemed to have expected that the soul dagger would return empty-handed. "Hey, let's end this. This time, I won't play with the dagger, but..." Suddenly, Xiaohan's mind moved. Poochie poochie poochie, something terrifying happened. Hundreds of thousands of needle-shaped weapons as thin as cow hair, as thick as steel needles, and as soft as spring rain, rained down on Xiaohan. One had to know that the size of the dagger was slightly larger. Therefore, when Xiaohan controlled it with his divine soul, the speed of the dagger was fast, but the needle-shaped weapon was many times smaller than the dagger. It was like a drizzle, and its speed far exceeded the dagger's trajectory. It was less than 1/100th of a breath's time. Even the Celestial didn't have time to react. The Celestial painting didn't react at all. Poochie. 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 The sound of rain hitting the banana leaves rang out. It was like the pitter-patter of footsteps on a muddy path. The next moment, the previously smug immortal, his immortal painting, Dharma treasure, and his body were riddled with holes by the dazzling soul rain. The soul rain twisted again and turned the Celestial into minced meat. The Celestial's blood bloomed like fireworks. Dead. The Celestial fell. After killing the Celestial, Xiaohan quickly retracted the soul rain. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. This heavyweight duel was annihilated into nothingness. Soon, the points floating above Xiaohan's head skyrocketed to 6.5 million points. Correspondingly, the number of celestial treasures in his dantian also reached more than 60,000. 6 million points. You can exchange for a key to the 3rd floor of my treasure. At this moment, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's mind made a timely sound, 6 million points for a crimson key. Adventurer, you can use your mind to exchange with me, Exchange for a crimson key? Xiaofan's footsteps paused slightly. Below the arena. Silence. Complete silence. No one had expected Xiaofan's counterattack to be so beautiful, so clean. Before anyone could react, Xiaofan had killed the immortal who had the upper hand just a moment ago. The hare leapt and the falcon swooped down, instantly killed. At this moment, all the Celestials had witnessed Xiaofan's methods. Even the Celestials who looked down on Xiaofan had to admit that Xiaofan was indeed difficult to deal with. Moreover, Xiaofan's ability to kill the Celestial was not a fluke. Too powerful. He's just a mortal, but he can easily kill an Celestial with a Celestial treasure. What a freak! What a freak! Now, who would be willing to meet Xiaofan in this arena battle? In my opinion, Xiaofan is a jinx. Meeting him is even more dangerous than meeting Jialanzi. Luckily, Xiaofan has already satisfied the points needed to exchange for the key to the third floor. He definitely won't stay here any longer. After sending this god of plague away, we can slowly fight for the next key. Brother Xiao, you're too strong. Jialanzi was also completely dumbfounded. In the arena, Xiaofan hesitated for less than half a breath before jumping off the stage without turning his head back. He did not use his points to exchange for a crimson key. Xiaofan's target would not change. It was the most precious purple key. He's not exchanging for the key. Xiaofan's action caused another uproar. Everyone was in disbelief. I know. This guy has wild ambitions. He wants to collect 20 million points to exchange for the purple key. Some of the Celestials were secretly ashamed. Although Xiaofan is only a mortal, his boldness and insight are much stronger than us Celestials. For example, as long as we have 6 million points, we will stop while we're ahead. We won't take the risk and insist on fighting for the purple key. But Xiaofan, with such determination, he will definitely become an all-powerful figure in the future. Xiaofan stood still amidst the gasps of surprise. At this moment, the next round of the arena hegemony battle had begun. At this time, including Xiaofan, there were 39 people participating in the battle. Chapter 674. After obtaining all of the Immortal's points, Xiaofan's points had skyrocketed to more than 6 million, but he didn't exchange them for the key to the third floor. Instead, he quietly retreated and stood there, reflecting on the gains and losses of the previous battle. Oh, the smaller the size of the weapon conjured by soul and mind power, the faster it can be controlled. Xiaofan now had a deep understanding of this. Although a small weapon can't compare to a larger one in terms of power, with the addition of speed, the tearing and penetrating power of a small weapon will increase. Moreover, it's easier and more precise to control a small weapon with the mind power. Gradually, the solid mind power planet in Xiaofan's sea of consciousness began to rotate and evolve. Countless needle-shaped weapons, like fine raindrops, wriggled slowly, shockingly. Each of the needle-shaped weapons began to shrink. As fine as a cow's hair, but they shrank again. The needle-shaped weapons began to split into two. Xiaofan was working hard to make these exquisite weapons split and shrink again. His mind power was highly concentrated. Below the arena, the other immortals saw Xiaofan's focused expression and thought that he was putting on an act. Each and every one of them felt a mixture of fear, disgust, and hatred towards Xiaofan. Brother Xiao seems to be comprehending something. Jialanzi looked pensive. While Xiaofan was immersed in his comprehension and had almost forgotten about everything else, the arena battles didn't slow down because of Xiaofan. Instead, they became even more intense. In the next few rounds of battles, the four mortals apart from Xiaofan were extremely unlucky. They were chosen to fight against the immortals one after another. When these mortals hadn't encountered immortals at all, they were still hoping for a fluke. They thought that by relying on the low-grade fairy weapons and magic treasures they had obtained in the preliminaries, they would be able to contend with immortals. If they were lucky, they might even be able to pass. However, when facing an immortal, just the immortal's aura alone was not something these mortals could resist. One look from an immortal could even cause their minds to crumble and their will to fight to scatter. Thus, when these mortals had enough points, the first thing they did was choose to avoid battle. However, their points were too few, so after a few times of avoiding battle, they were forced into a dead end. They could only fight once in a while. Without any suspense, the 4 mortals all died tragically on the arena. In this way, there were only 35 people left in this arena tournament. Of the 34 immortals, only Xiaofan was left among the mortals. Ha 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 ha, mortal, you overestimate yourself. You actually want to compete with us immortals and covet the treasures of the 3rd layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. What wishful thinking. Now that the mortals are all dead, that's fine. All that's left is competition between us immortals. After the mortals were all dead, some of the immortals expressed their opinions. However, as soon as they finished speaking, their faces tensed up with strange expressions, as if they felt like they'd said something wrong. Then, the group of immortals looked at Xiaofan. The mortals were not completely wiped out. They realized that in addition to the group of immortals, there was also a mortal. Xiaofan. They had actually subconsciously distinguished Xiaofan from a mortal. They thought that Xiaofan should not be classified as a mortal. However, Xiaofan was still focused on studying the many changes in the spiritual energy star in his sea of consciousness, and did not pay attention to what was happening outside. The arena hegemony battle continued. In the next few rounds, Xiaofan was not randomly selected to participate in the battles. Between the immortals, the fiercest, most intense, and most dazzling battles began. Moreover, the immortals rarely chose to avoid battle. As a result, every battle that followed was a bloody struggle between the 2 immortals. In every battle, there was bound to be an immortal's death. The immortals who won would inevitably have their points skyrocketing. Jia Lanzi was also randomly selected. His opponent was an immortal with 1.9 million points, and he also wielded an extraordinary offensive immortal weapon. Facing the extremely powerful Jia Lanzi, his opponent did not choose to avoid battle. Instead, he engaged in a life-and-death battle with Jia Lanzi. However, Jia Lanzi was indeed too powerful. In the arena, he did not even use his celestial artifact. He only relied on the few profound celestial techniques that he had mastered. He used these celestial techniques in the most reasonable way to destroy his opponent's magic treasures and kill him. Jia Lanzi's points rose all the way. The battle was in full swing. Even in the immortal realm, it was extremely rare for immortals to fight like this, regardless of the cost, as if they were absolutely irreconcilable enemies. However, it happened in Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. It made people sigh. After an unknown number of rounds, in the end, apart from Xiaofan, there were only 14 immortals left out of the 34. Including Xiaofan, there were a total of 15 people. All of a sudden, the ancient arena shook, and Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's deep and desolate voice resounded again, "Very good. Adventurers, the arena battle of supremacy has progressed to this point, and all of you have fought hard and bloodied battles. My divine sense can feel your determination. Ha ha ha. Up until now, not a single adventurer has been able to exchange for the key to the 3rd floor with my divine sense. However, your points should more or less satisfy the requirements to exchange for the key. Now, only the top 15 are left. Judging from the points, the key to the 3rd floor of my treasure will be given out one after another. Alright, rest for 4 hours before fighting again." The arena hegemony battle had been going on until now. There was no time to rest at all, causing the participants to be exhausted from running around and killing each other. Now that the top 15 had been decided, there was finally a chance for 4 hours to recuperate. These 4 hours were extremely precious. This was because most of the immortals in the top 15 had exhausted a lot of their energy from the continuous battles. Their auras were slightly dim, and their fighting prowess was far from their peak. If there was no time to rest and they continued fighting, the initiative between life and death would largely be decided by luck. It would no longer be in their hands. This was extremely frustrating. But now, they finally had a chance to rest. The immortals were all wild with joy. They did not waste any time and sat down cross-legged. Some took out sacred medicines and divine water and consumed them to replenish their energy. Some of them hurriedly activated the refining power that they had just obtained to refine the magical treasures that they had stored in their dantian. They strived to control stronger immortal treasures in these 4 hours to prepare for the more intense battles later. Jia Lanzi sat down cross-legged, the power of refinement swirling around his body. He was not the least bit careless. As for Xiaofan, whoosh whoosh whoosh, in his sea of consciousness. The needle-shaped weapons formed from his soul and mind power had now split into 2, then into 4. Every needle-shaped weapon was visible to the naked eye at first, but now it had split and transformed into almost transparent nothingness. If one did not pay attention, they could not be seen with the naked eye. My soul power has been pushed to the limit. For now, I can only divide a needle weapon into 4 parts. I can't divide it into 8 parts, Xiaofan collected his soul. Yes, after each needle weapon is divided into 4 parts, it's even thinner, so it's faster to activate. Moreover, such a small weapon can pierce through the air at a speed faster than light. It's almost impossible to see the weapon itself, only the afterimage of the ripples in the air. This way, it's almost impossible for the enemy to guard against it. Xiaofan was very satisfied. This method of splitting the size of the needles was something he had come up with on a whim. Now, Xiaofan had given this method a name, Phantom Attack. Yes, let's call it Phantom Attack. The enemy can't see the weapon, they can only feel a phantom passing by. Xiaofan's eyes lit up. Yes, there's still a quarter of an hour before the 4 hours of rest. I need to make good use of the time to regulate my breathing and nourish my divine soul. Xiaofan let out a breath of turbid air. He also felt a little tired, so he quickly sat down cross-legged. Although Xiaofan had been trying to comprehend the method of spiritual soul attacks, he was still aware of everything that had happened in the arena battle. Xiaofan also knew that the battle had come to an end, and the top 15 had been decided. Moreover, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao had announced the 4 hours of rest. Xiaofan sat down to recuperate while he scanned the top 15's points with his mind wave, including his own. Currently, Xiaofan was still in first place among the top 15. Xiaofan, 5 million points. Ranked first. He was qualified to exchange for a key. In second place was a green-clothed female immortal. Her eyes were long and narrow, and her points had reached 84 million. She was about to get the key to the 3rd level. Those ranked 3rd to 8th all had 4 million to 5 million points. Those ranked 9th to 13th all had 3 million to 4 million points. Jia Lanzi's ranking was slightly lower, only at 14th place, with 2 million points. The last immortal in 15th place had 91 million points. The situation now is very delicate. Xiaofan nodded slightly. In other words, once the battle of the top 15 starts, the winner of any battle will almost be able to get a key. Even Brother Jialan, although he has more than 2 million points, if he defeats an immortal ranked 3rd to 8th, he will get the key immediately. There's no doubt about it. Even the one ranked last, with 9 million points, can turn the tables and get the key just because of one battle. 4 hours of rest time had finally come to an end. At this moment, all the immortals had recovered to their peak state. Moreover, a few immortals had refined their immortal weapons and treasures again. Strong confidence could be seen between their brows. Enough, the rest time is over. From now on, there will be no more rest time in this arena battle. Let's fight. The battle of the top 15 begins now. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice sounded leisurely. Chapter 675. The battle in the arena had reignited the flames of war. Including Xiaofan, all 15 people stood up. Each and every one of them, their eyes were burning with the flames of war. On the ancient arena, dazzling lights intertwined and splashed everywhere. Let's fight. Stop dilly-dallying. Next is the battle that will decide who can enter the third level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. The mystery is about to be revealed. Some of the immortals who had refined and controlled new immortal artifacts were naturally full of confidence. They hoped to participate in the battle immediately, kill their opponents on the arena, and get the key. Finally, whoosh whoosh, on the ancient arena, 2 dazzling lights shot out and descended. They directly covered 2 immortals. One of the immortals was ranked 3rd among the top 15 in points. He had 21 million points. As for the other immortal, he was ranked 15th with 91 million immortals. The 2 immortals did not even consider using the immunity card and were sent to the arena. Ha 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 ha. I recognize you. Fire Shadow. The immortal with 21 million points roared out with a look of joy on his face. As for the Fire Shadow, although he had fewer points, there was no dejection or fear on his face. Instead, he smiled with interest. As long as I kill you, my 91 million points will immediately become more than 7 million. I will get the key in an instant. You still want to kill me? Die. Finally, the 2 immortals confronted each other head-on. The immortal with 21 million points. He seemed to be determined to win. First, he took out his strongest Dharma artifact, a treasure that looked like an official seal. Suddenly, the wind and clouds rolled in all directions, and huge waves swept up thousands of piles of snow. It was an extremely powerful Dharma artifact. Bang! The immortal with 91 million points. His body was directly blasted into pieces. However, too weak. An afterimage? The immortal with 21 million points had just burst out laughing when he suddenly felt that something was wrong. Just now, what he shattered was actually an afterimage. The next moment. Puff! The head of the immortal with 21 million points suddenly shot up into the sky. Blood gushed out of his neck like a waterfall. The immortal with 91 million points was now standing behind the immortal with 21 million points, laughing hysterically. Ha 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 ha. The one who has the last laugh is me. Ha ha ha. It's not in vain that I've been keeping a low profile all this time. At the critical moment, I refined a clone talisman. Ha ha ha. Hong hong hong, the points and Dharma treasures of the fallen immortals surged into the victor's body. All of a sudden, the winner's points exceeded 6 million, reaching 7 million. In the next moment, the victor's eyes were blazing as he roared, "Lord Zhu Dao, Immortal Emperor! I want to exchange 7 million points for an orange key. Ha ha ha. 6 million points can be exchanged for a red key, but I can exchange for an orange key that's 1 grade higher than a red key. Ha 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 ha. Ah. Someone finally exchanged for the key. The immortals below the stage were all nervous. Filled with curiosity. Xiaofan and Jia Lanzi were also staring intently at the arena. Just then, boom. In the arena, the immortals' points suddenly dropped by 7 million. Of course, the number of Dharma treasures inside the immortals' dantian would not decrease because of the decrease in points. More than 70,000 Dharma treasures were still stacked inside the immortal's body. Soon, the wind and clouds rose in the arena. Countless rays of light shot out, and the phantoms of various auspicious beasts descended from the sky. Pooh! An orange key, 10 feet long, engraved with countless complicated runes and formations, containing the profundities of space and time, descended from the sky. The location where the orange key descended happened to be where the Immortal was standing on the arena. Ha ha ha. The first key to enter the third level of Lord Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure will be obtained by me, the Fire Shadow. Ha ha ha. Accompanied by the Immortal's carefree laughter, the orange key suddenly shrank and continued descending. Finally, like a snowflake, it merged into the Immortal's body. Pooh! The Immortal's Fire Shadow's body trembled. Its face shone with golden light, showing an expression of enlightenment. Then, a mirage-like spatial formation appeared under its feet. The power of space rotated from the bottom to the top like sand. This caused the Fire Shadow's body to gradually fade into nothingness. The Fire Shadow used a mocking gaze to sweep across the other Immortals below the arena and laughed shrilly. Everyone, I'll leave first. Everyone, take your time to fight. Ha 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 ha. Finally, the Fire Shadow disappeared from the arena. Oh, this guy is lucky to be the first. The Immortals below the arena were extremely envious. Soon, all kinds of strange phenomena on the arena disappeared, and peace was restored. The arena hegemony battle continued. Now, the first battle of the top 15 had ended. 2 Immortals, 1 dead and 1 gone. There were only 13 people left. As the first key to enter Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure appeared, the remaining 13 people were now a little anxious. They all wanted to obtain the key immediately. To end this cruel competition. Xiao, on the ancient arena, another 2 dazzling lights shot out. This time, the 2 dazzling lights chose to fight. One was Xiaolanzi, and the other was in the top 15. An Immortal whose points were second only to Xiaofan. That malicious green-clothed woman. Second place on the top 15 ranking list. An existence with 5.84 million points floating above her head. Boom. Boom. Xiaolanzi and the malicious green-clothed woman floated in the air and exchanged glances. Both of them ignored the words that appeared above their heads. Immortal Xiaolanzi. The malicious green-clothed woman smiled sinisterly. This is really unexpected. I, Violet Luo Fairy, obtained the key to the 3rd floor. I actually obtained points from you. Heh, Xiaolanzi smiled indifferently. Suddenly, a pondering expression appeared in her eyes. She looked at the points above Violet Luo Fairy's head. Immortal Xiaolanzi, if I didn't refine those few magical treasures in my body, I definitely wouldn't be your opponent. However, I rested for 4 hours just now. To me, Violet Luo Fairy, this is too important. Now, I have 90% confidence that I can kill you, Immortal Xiaolanzi. Violet Luo Fairy said confidently. Before they officially stepped onto the arena, Violet Luo Fairy and Xiaofan were already at each other's throats. The atmosphere between the two of them became extremely tense. Below the arena, the Immortals who were watching the battle began to discuss among themselves. Arrogant. This Violet Luo Fairy. How dare she be so arrogant in front of Xiaolanzi? She's simply courting death. Ha ha ha. Idiot. Don't look down on Violet Luo Fairy. It's no coincidence that Violet Luo Fairy's points could rank first in the top 15. Before entering the top 15, Purple Luo Fairy used an extremely terrifying celestial artifact. And after that, during the 4 hours of rest, I observed that while Purple Luo Fairy was resting, she was constantly activating the power of refinement, speeding up the refinement of the new celestial artifact in her dantian. Now, she must have obtained the celestial artifact that she likes, and her combat power has soared. You can say that, although she can't say that she can definitely defeat Xiaolanzi, she is definitely qualified to challenge him. Humph. Do you think that Xiaolanzi doesn't have any trump cards? Doesn't he have any powerful magical treasures? While the immortals were arguing, Xiaofan swept his soul psyche over to cover Violet Luo Fairy. This Violet Luo Fairy's aura is unfathomable. Also, Xiaofan pierced through Violet Luo Fairy's dantian and saw that there were no less than 7 magical treasures operating brilliantly in her dantian. At least 3 of them were even of a higher quality than the magical treasures that the son of Xing Chunzi had possessed. This meant that Violet Luo Fairy had control of 7 of the tens of thousands of magical treasures, and 3 of them were extraordinary. This Violet Luo Fairy is powerful. She's a formidable opponent. I wonder if Brother Jia Lanzi can kill her and obtain a large number of points. Xiaohan's soul psyche swept over Jia Lanzi. Xiaohan's intuition told him that Jia Lanzi's aura was slightly stronger than Violet Luo Fairy's, but not by much. Xiaofan also saw that among all the magical treasures piled up inside Jia Lanzi's body, there were 2 that were emitting dense immortal qi. Brother Jia Lanzi has only refined 2 magical treasures, but they are of very high quality. They're not inferior to Violet Luo Fairy's 7 magical treasures at all. Xiaofan nodded slightly. From this, he concluded that Jia Lanzi could definitely defeat Violet Luo Fairy, but it wouldn't be easy. He might even have to pay a great price. Phew. Don't worry too much about Brother Jia Lanzi. Although he'll lose some immortal qi as the price, he'll be able to retreat once he obtains Violet Luo Fairy's points. It won't be too late to recuperate then. Xiaohan rubbed his nose. He was sure that Jia Lanzi would kill Violet Luo Fairy and take her points. However, then, something strange happened. Boom! When the 20 breaths were up, the words, "Fight free," above Jia Lanzi's head began to burn. From above Jia Lanzi's head, 100,000 points and 1,000 magical treasures suddenly flowed into Violet Luo Fairy's body. This caused Violet Luo Fairy's points to instantly reach 5,940,000. Fight free. Jia Lanzi actually chose to fight free. At the most crucial moment, when the key to the 3rd level would be decided, Jia Lanzi chose to fight free. Then, Jia Lanzi looked deeply at Violet Luo Fairy, glanced at Xiaohan out of the corner of his eye, and retreated without a word. This is... Violet Luo Fairy was completely stunned. Many of the immortals below the arena were also completely astonished. No one could understand why Jia Lanzi would suddenly choose to fight free. One had to know that Jia Lanzi still had the upper hand against Violet Luo Fairy. Below the arena. Brother Jia Lanzi, what are you doing? Xiaohan was speechless. Jia Lanzi shook his head and laughed as he spoke to Xiaohan through soul telepathy. Brother Xiao, you've already obtained more than 6 million points, but you still chose to stay and continue to fight. If I'm not wrong, you probably want to obtain 20 million points to exchange for the purple key. Now, there are fewer and fewer participants left. Violet Luo Fairy has nearly 6 million points, so I won't take it. In any case, I don't have the ambition to obtain the purple key. I'll fulfill your wish, Brother Xiao. Jia Lanzi actually wanted to fulfill Xiaohan's ambition, so he chose to avoid the battle. Brother Jia Lanzi, you. Xiaohan was extremely touched. Moreover, it won't be easy for me to defeat the Violet Luo Fairy, but Brother Xiao, you should be able to defeat her easily. Jia Lanzi looked at Xiaohan meaningfully. His eyes were filled with great confidence in Xiaohan. At this time, Violet Luo Fairy also retreated angrily. The battle continued. In the next round, dazzling lights flashed again. 2 dazzling lights descended, and one of them landed on Jia Lanzi's body. On the other hand, an immortal ranked 9th with 391 million points had descended. Jia Lanzi and that immortal floated in the air. Jia Lanzi. Brother Jia Lanzi, this time, you're still avoiding the battle? The immortal with 3,910,000 points looked at Jia Lanzi suspiciously. Jia Lanzi smiled without saying a word. This time, after 20 breaths, Jia Lanzi did not choose to avoid the battle. The two of them entered the arena. The battle was about to begin. Chapter 676. Jia Lanzi and Violet Luo Fairy, who was currently ranked second on the scoreboard, were randomly assigned to fight. Unexpectedly, Jia Lanzi chose to avoid the battle. As it turned out, his goal was to give this fat prey to Xiaofan so that Xiaofan could fulfill his ambition of obtaining 20 million points and obtaining the purple key. After exiting the arena with the Violet Luo Fairy, Jia Lanzi was once again chosen for the next battle. His opponent had 91 million points. This time, Jia Lanzi was no longer avoiding the fight. Two immortals entered the arena. Although Jia Lanzi's opponent was extremely wary of Jia Lanzi, he was ready to risk it all. As soon as he entered the arena, he used his strongest killing moves and Dharma treasures. He regarded Jia Lanzi as an old enemy and fought with all his might. This immortal's strength was extraordinary, especially the Dharma treasures he had refined and controlled. Their attacks were incomparably sharp. During the course of the battle, Jia Lanzi no longer defeated his opponent with ease. He also used his full strength. As he moved and flickered, he didn't underestimate his opponent. Below the arena, Xiaofan and the remaining immortals watched the battle intently. Brother Jia Lanzi should be able to kill his opponent and obtain the points to exchange for the key. Xiaofan's soul was powerful, and he could accurately judge the auras of the two combatants. Moreover, he had an indescribable premonition about the outcome of the battle. As for the other immortals, they were extremely relaxed. Jia Lanzi had already made his move. Either he won and left, or he was killed. Either way, the immortals would have one less strong competitor to contend with. In the arena. Forget it. Jia Lanzi sighed slightly. In the next moment, he waved his right hand. A seemingly ordinary rope directly swept out. This rope made it impossible for his opponent to dodge. He was tied up. He lost the ability to fight. This was an extremely powerful Dharma treasure that Jia Lanzi had refined, the demon binding rope. Roar! No! The immortal who was tied up erupted with a roar and cry before his death. Bang! Jia Lanzi struck out with his palm. He killed the immortal. In the end, Jia Lanzi snatched away all the immortal's points and Dharma treasures. In this way, the points that Jia Lanzi controlled would not be worth much. That was enough for him to exchange for a crimson key. Unlike Xiaofan, Jia Lanzi was not obsessed with purple keys or other higher quality keys. He immediately released his spiritual will and used his points to communicate with Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's spiritual will. The transaction was completed. Flowers fell from the sky, golden lotuses appeared on the ground, and a scarlet key descended from the sky. It was slowly refined into Jia Lanzi's body. The power of space was as ethereal and sacred as star sand. Jia Lanzi's body also began to fade bit by bit. Brother Jia Lan, below the stage, Xiaofan smiled as he looked at Jia Lanzi. This little brother will respectfully send Brother Jia Lan off first. Brother Xiao, I will indeed be leaving first. Jia Lanzi also smiled warmly as he stared at Xiaofan. Brother Xiao will definitely be able to fulfill his long-cherished wish. Heh. Until now, with Brother Xiao's means, I will definitely be able to accomplish it. Killing immortals is as easy as flipping one's hand. Ha ha ha. Brother Xiao, see you later. As soon as he finished speaking, Jia Lanzi's figure had already disappeared without a trace. Before he left, Jia Lanzi's words implied that he was optimistic about Xiaofan's ability to defeat all his opponents in the following matches and obtain the purple key. His confidence in Xiaofan was extremely obvious and direct. After Jia Lanzi disappeared, several immortals, including the purple Luo Fairy, cast mocking looks at Xiaofan. Xiaofan, Jia Lanzi deliberately avoided fighting me in the last round. So he wanted to leave my points for you. Ha ha ha. What a fool. The purple Luo fairy looked coldly at Xiaofan. Xiaofan, you want to kill me, the purple Luo fairy, and obtain points from me to complete your ambition of obtaining the purple key. Fine, I'm looking forward to fighting you now. I want to see what tricks you have. You have to be careful, someone as arrogant as you can die at any time. Facing the purple Luo fairy's provocative words, Xiaofan laughed it off and did not say anything. Facing Xiaofan's attitude, the purple Luo fairy gritted her teeth, and the resentment in her eyes intensified. After Jia Lanzi completely disappeared, the arena hegemony battle continued. By now, there were still 11 people participating in the arena battles, including Xiaofan. In the next round of battles, the purple Luo fairy was randomly chosen. Her body floated in the air, and she stared coldly at Xiaofan. She hoped that Xiaofan would also be chosen to fight with her. However, things did not go as she wished. Her opponent was not Xiaofan. This time, the purple Luo fairy's opponent was an immortal ranked 5th on the rankings. Although this immortal did not have as many points as the purple Luo fairy, he had more than 4 million points. Naturally, neither of them would choose to avoid fighting. She directly entered the arena. In the arena, the purple Luo fairy's performance was indeed ferocious. She took out several immortal weapons in succession and started a massacre. Her attacks were extremely fierce, but they were also very clever. In 3 to 5 rounds, she killed her opponent. Hong, the points above the purple Luo fairy's head soared. From nearly 6 million, it had soared to 10 million. The audience booed. Logically speaking, 10 million points should be enough to exchange for an extremely high-quality key, a green key. But purple Luo fairy had given up on the exchange. Ha 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 Xiaofan, your points could be exchanged for a scarlet key, but you endured it. Right now, my points can also be exchanged for a key to enter the 3rd floor, and it's a green key, but I won't exchange for it either. I actually hope to be able to kill you and obtain a purple key. Ha 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 ha, let's see, it's me, the immortal. In the end, the one who obtained the purple key was you, a mere mortal. After saying that, purple Luo fairy retreated in high spirits. The battle just now. This further strengthened purple Luo fairy's confidence. The 7 celestial artifacts were used alternately, and their attacks and defenses were orderly. Their defenses were watertight, and their attacks were ferocious and domineering. It was practically flawless. Purple Luo fairy was confident that she could fight against a level 4 or even a level 5 true immortal. There were 10 people left on the stage. The other immortals. When they looked at purple Luo fairy, they all had a bitter look on their faces. They all realized how powerful purple Luo fairy was, and they wanted her to quickly take the key and leave. But unfortunately, purple Luo fairy and Xiaofan were at loggerheads. She had enough points to exchange for the key, so she didn't make a move. In this way, it would be a disaster for this formidable opponent to stay in the arena battle. The battle continued. In this round, 2 immortals with more than 3 million points met. In the end, one immortal was killed, and the other immortal got his points. He was wild with joy and also relieved. The immortal who won. Unlike Xiaofan and purple Luo fairy, he didn't hoard his points. Instead, he exchanged for a scarlet key and teleported away. There were 8 people left on the stage. In the next round, another immortal with more than 3 million points met another immortal with more than 4 million points. One died, and the other left with the key. There were 6 people left on the stage. Finally, the battle progressed to this point. Dazzling light enveloped Xiaofan, making him float in the void. Soon, Xiaofan's opponent was chosen, an immortal with 4.02 million points. Finally, it's my turn to fight. Xiaofan's lips curled into a smile. Purple Luo fairy gloomily said to the immortal who was going to fight Xiaofan. Tian lazy, fight hard and kill this mortal. Xiaohan's attack speed is fast, but you just need to defend in advance. Oh. Xiaohan's opponent, Tian lazy, raised his eyelids and grinned. Purple Luo Fairy, thank you for your reminder. Let me kill this guy and get the key first. Whoosh whoosh, the two of them entered the arena. As expected, before they entered the arena, Tian lazy's body was covered with a layer of immortal armor. He roared at Xiaohan, holding a huge immortal artifact axe. Little mortal. Hurry up and die. Heh. Your immortal artifact armor doesn't seem to be of high quality. Xiaohan sneered. The next moment, whoosh whoosh whoosh, the densely packed soul and mental energy daggers were like a swarm of bees. With lightning speed, they charged towards the opponent. Xiaohan didn't split his daggers into needle-shaped weapons. Against an opponent of this level, Xiaohan would hardly use his secret skills. Bang! Tian lazy was killed by Xiaohan. 4.02 million points and 40,000 immortal artifacts flowed into Xiaohan's body. In this way, Xiaohan's total points had exceeded 10 million. Xiaohan walked down the arena leisurely. Damn it! He killed him instantly. Purple Luo Fairy was flustered and exasperated. As for the other immortals, they were frightened by Xiaohan's almost invincible means. Now, only Xiaohan, Purple Luo Fairy, and a few other immortals were left in the arena. Humph! Purple Luo Fairy snorted coldly. Then, she sat down cross-legged and focused on the refining power in her body. Just a little bit more. I'll be able to refine and control the 8th immortal artifact. This is a supreme-grade immortal robe. Its defense is so strong that it can withstand an attack from a level 5 true immortal. As long as I can control this immortal robe, I'll be able to kill Xiaohan. The battle was coming to an end. In the next round, another 2 immortals entered the arena. In the end, one of them died, while the other managed to exchange for the key as he wished and teleported away without saying a word. This. In the end, there were 3 people left in the arena. Xiaohan, Purple Luo Fairy, and an immortal with 3.49 million points. This immortal was sandwiched between Xiaohan and Purple Luo Fairy. At this moment, his teeth were chattering, and his throat was making gurgling sounds. His eyes were full of fear and terror. To be continued. Chapter 677. This immortal really hated the heavens, hated the earth, and hated himself. Ibdu, too unlucky. He hadn't been chosen by Xian Guang to compete for points. In the end, all the immortals who had participated in this competition had either died or left. Only Xiaohan and Violet Luo Fairy were left. Besides Jia Lanzi, who had already escaped with the key, these 2 were the most powerful. Violet Luo Fairy. Xiaohan, you have already controlled more than 10 million points. You should hurry up and exchange for the key and leave. Why are you still here? The immortal's voice trembled as he pleaded. I admit defeat, I can't beat you, you should leave. I don't want to compete for points anymore. Xiaohan shrugged and didn't speak. Shut up. Violet Luo Fairy scolded coldly. She frowned slightly. She was using all the refining power in her body to attack a celestial robe in her dantian. This was the crucial moment, and she was about to succeed. Ugh. The pitiful immortal immediately shut up after being yelled at by Violet Luo Fairy, not daring to say anything else. However, he couldn't help but put his palms together, praying to the gods and Buddhas. I hope these 2 bastards fight first. Let them fight first. Then it won't be too late for me to show up. Let both of them suffer. However, things didn't go according to his wishes. Xiao, 2 dazzling lights suddenly flashed. One covered Violet Luo Fairy, and the other covered the immortal who was praying. I've refined that supreme-grade celestial robe. I still need some refining power. After I kill you. Just enough to break through the restriction on the outer layer of the supreme-grade celestial robe, and I'll be able to control it completely. Violet Luo Fairy floated in the air, her eyes like silk. Then, she looked at Xiaofan. Xiaofan, when I've refined and controlled that supreme-grade celestial robe, it'll be your death. Xiaofan laughed involuntarily and said to the immortal who was already scared silly. In fact, others can also use immunity. As soon as he said this. Immunity. I refuse to fight, the immortal said. As if he had just woken up from a dream, he didn't hesitate to spend 100,000 points and 1,000 artifacts to use immunity. Coward. Purple Luo Fairy was furious, but there was nothing she could do. Phew, after landing, the immortal was scared out of his wits. Then, the dazzling light flashed again. This time, the dazzling light shone on the heads of the Purple Luo Fairy and the immortal. This time, the immortal learned his lesson and didn't wait for Xiaofan's reminder. He immediately used Avoid Battle. Just like that, the number of points above the immortal's head increased. Less and less. However, he had no other choice. At this moment, he had already lost all his fighting spirit. He didn't want to fight at all. What happened next was like a farce. After dozens of rounds of random battles, Xiaofan had yet to face the Purple Luo Fairy directly. It would either be Xiaofan fighting that dejected immortal, or the Purple Luo Fairy would encounter him. Every time they met, the immortal who had already collapsed would use Avoid Battle. Just like that, when the immortal had the last 20,000 points left and could no longer avoid battle, he encountered the Purple Luo Fairy and was killed with a blow to his head. Now, the arena hegemony battle had come to the last round. Only Xiaofan and the Purple Luo Fairy were left. Both of them had more than 10 million points above their heads, but neither of them was willing to exchange for the key and leave. Purple Luo Fairy, finally, we have no other choice. Xiaofan looked at the Purple Luo Fairy with a smile. His eyes were full of fighting spirit. It's over, everything will be over. Yes, everything will be over. Suddenly, the Purple Luo Fairy's whole body shook with celestial light. A splendid cyclone came out of her body and formed a rainbow in the sky. It was a spectacular sight. Her body glowed with an aura that seemed to have been reborn. The aura of supreme-grade immortal Qi gushed out. At this moment, the Purple Luo Fairy's face was filled with a sense of superiority, as if she was in control of everything. Finally, I've succeeded. The Purple Luo Fairy moved her mind slightly, and a colorful robe covered her body. On the robe, various defensive formations were set up, making it impregnable. Wearing this robe, she could withstand the attack of a level 5 genuine immortal. The next moment, swoosh. 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 Another 7 magic treasures rushed out of the Purple Luo Fairy's body and flew around in the sky. The pressure was overwhelming. Xiaofan, how do you want to die? If you tell me now, I'll sympathize with you and let you choose a way to die. The Purple Luo Fairy said, her eyebrows dancing. What a pity. In fact, judging from your points, you must have accumulated a large amount of refining power in your body. But you're just a mortal, refining a celestial artifact is useless. You're destined to die in my hands. Xiaofan chuckled. The purple key. Very good. It seems that the purple key will be won again. Just like in the Genius Zone, I, Xiaofan, have the most precious key. How dare you? Xiaofan, are you still so stubborn? That's right, the purple key is the most precious. Who would have thought that Jia Lanzi, who had always been favored, would not obtain the purple key? Instead, it was I, Violet Luo Fairy, who took the first place. This is a clear indication that I, the Violet Luo Fairy, have thoroughly risen to power. Nothing can stop me. This is the will of heaven. The Violet Luo fairy was incomparably arrogant. How shameless. Xiaofan couldn't help but sneer. You really think you're so amazing? If it wasn't for Brother Jialan's indifference to fame and fortune, he would have voluntarily withdrawn from the encounter with you. Heh, if Brother Jialan had persisted in the battle, your bones would have turned cold long ago. How dare you shamelessly clamor here? Right at this moment. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice resounded through the heavens and earth. Oh. At this point in the Arena Supremacy Tournament, there are only the two of you left. Alright. Not bad, however. Your points. You've already met the requirements to enter the third level of this Emperor's treasure. Oh, this Emperor knows. You want to fight for the purple key, right? Good. Ambitious. Then, let's fight. Once your battle is over, my second level will be closed. Let's fight. Outside the Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. On the huge platform outside the planet. At this moment, on the platform, there were also some mortals and immortals clustered around them. Among them, Wu Li, Xiao Mingchu, and Xiaohan slaves from Xiaohan's dimension, as well as many ancient giants and elders from the Monster Hero Tower were all standing on the platform. At this moment, they were all standing on the platform. They were staring at the interior of the planet. I wonder how junior brother Xiaohan is now. The Arena Supremacy Tournament has been going on for a long time. I wonder if junior brother Xiaohan. Dongfang Qin couldn't stop mumbling. Dongfang, you don't have to be anxious. You have to have confidence in Xiaohan. Wu Li pretended to be calm and smiled, but in fact, his heart wasn't at peace. Everyone, you don't have to be like this. We all know Brother Zhao's combat power. He's like a god that descended to the mortal world. He'll definitely be able to sweep everything away. Black and White Z and Yu Yangzi were also at the side. At this moment, whether it was Wu Li and the other mortals, or immortals like Black and White Z and Yu Yangzi, the points above their heads had all been cleared after they left the Absolute Saber Immortal Emperor's treasure. Moreover, in their bodies, except for a few Dharma treasures that they had completely mastered and refined, the other Dharma treasures and immortal weapons that they had yet to refine were all annihilated. Boom! The Absolute Saber Immortal's lair, that planet, suddenly expanded. Then, a beam of immortal light shot out. An immortal burst out from the planet and burst out laughing. Ha 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 ha. I've obtained the key to enter the third floor. Ha 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 ha. On the platform, the mortals and immortals standing were full of envy and jealousy. Just like that, the immortals who obtained the keys flew out from the planet and stood on the platform to rest and adjust themselves. Soon, whoosh, another beam of immortal light shot out. Jialanzi also came out. Immortal Jialanzi. Brother Jialanzi. Wu Li, Black and White Z, and the others immediately rushed forward. After Jialanzi stood still, Black and White Z and Yu Yangzi stood on his left and right. Brother Jialanzi, you also obtained the key? Wu Li and the others were all talking at once. Immortal Jialanzi, where's Xiaohan? Don't worry, everyone. Brother Xiao is fine. His strength is extraordinary, and he wanted to obtain the most precious key. He's still fighting. Jialanzi immediately said. The battle within is truly tragic. Even Brother Taotai, Brother Breathing Earth and the other old friends have fallen within it. They died in the arena battles, sigh. Indeed, in the arena battles, Taotai, Living Earth, and other immortals who were close to Xiaohan all died one after another. Hearing this grievous news, Black and White Z, Wu Li, and the others all sighed. Jialanzi comforted them. Everyone, don't be like this. This is the price that must be paid in the process of pursuing the immortal Tao and power. I think that Brother Taotai and Brother Living Earth fought for their ideals. Although they died, they have no regrets. After a short pause, Jia Lanzi continued. After obtaining this key, I also received Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's intent. He told us to wait here. I believe that after the end of the arena battle, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao will have new arrangements in the arena. The 20 seconds to choose not to fight had ended. Xiaofan and Purple Luo Fairy stood in the arena. The final battle. The final battle. This battle was not to be underestimated. It would decide who the purple key belonged to. Purple Luo Fairy was clad in immortal clothing, and her defense could be said to be perfect. 7 powerful offensive immortal artifacts circled around her like comets. Xiaofan, die. Purple Luo Fairy's face was ferocious, and her murderous aura was wild. Boom! 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 In the blink of an eye, Purple Luo Fairy activated several extremely powerful offensive immortal artifacts and attacked Xiaofan. She wanted to destroy Xiaofan in one blow. Although Purple Luo Fairy looked down on Xiaofan, she went all out. She gathered all the immortal energy in her body and controlled several immortal artifacts to attack Xiaofan. This attack was a killer move. The control of several immortal artifacts was exquisite, and it completely sealed off Xiaohan's escape routes. And Xiaofan. Die. Phantom attack. In an instant, in Xiaohan's sea of consciousness, the endless soul power turned into needle-shaped weapons that were as fine as cow hair. Then, according to Xiaohan's understanding, each needle-shaped weapon. 1 divided into 2. 2 divided into 4. Whoosh. 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 The weapons turned into endless light rays, which were almost like shadows, and shot out densely. When such a small weapon was activated, its speed simply reached a kind of extreme. In the world of martial arts, only speed was unbeatable. In less than 1,000th of a breath, the phantom light attack had already destroyed Purple Luo Fairy's immortal clothing. It collapsed. Purple Luo Fairy's mind suddenly stopped. Just like that, the few celestial artifacts that she was controlling, which were attacking Xiaofan, suddenly stopped. Puff! Purple Luo Fairy spat out a mouthful of blood and screamed in a frightened and incredulous voice, "How is this possible? What kind of attack is this? It actually pierced through this supreme-grade immortal clothing. Xiaofan, you." Xiaohan's mind moved, and countless small needle-shaped weapons turned into liquid, which instantly soaked Purple Luo Fairy. No! Xiaofan. Let me go. Let's each get a key. Don't kill me. As long as you don't kill me, I can be your woman. You have an immortal as your wife, that is. Purple Luo Fairy screamed hoarsely, as if she had a premonition of death. Bang! The next moment, the spiritual liquid that had seeped into her skin, blood vessels, tendons, and bones suddenly exploded. The Purple Luo Fairy had been blown to pieces. She couldn't be more dead. To be continued. Chapter 678. Finally. The exploration of the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure was over. It ended with Xiaohan's complete victory. Xiaofan had killed a powerful opponent, Purple Luo Fairy, and obtained a huge amount of points. His points had exceeded 20 million. Boom! 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 Following the death of Purple Luo Fairy, the points, Dharma treasures, and the power of refinement poured into Xiaohan's body like a tsunami. Xiaohan's body was full, shiny, and flawless. Now, there were more than 200,000 Dharma treasures in Xiaohan's dantian. It was no small matter. Whoosh! 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 Above the ancient arena, dazzling lights interweaved. Xiaofan was completely in the middle of a colorful energy whirlpool. He felt like he was bathing in the spring breeze. He had an aura of looking down on the world from a high place. Phew. At this time, Xiaofan withdrew the soul mind power that he had used to kill Purple Luo Fairy back into his sea of consciousness. In the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint, he analyzed and calculated the gains and losses of the battle just now. It wasn't easy to kill that violet sieve fairy just now. The defensive celestial robe she refined contained an impenetrable formation. If I had only used my soul and mind power to transform it into a dagger, it would have been too slow, and I wouldn't have been able to break through her defense. Fortunately, I comprehended the method of splitting my soul-mind power into small weapons in advance. Otherwise, I would have been the one to die in the battle just now. The battle just now seemed to be an easy one, but in fact, Xiaofan had passed it by a narrow margin. Moreover, Xiaofan now had a deeper understanding of his own combat power. He also had a deeper understanding of it, I am now. They could no longer be mentioned in the same breath as they were in the past. They could fight against immortals and not be at a disadvantage. My dual attribute special physique makes it difficult for ordinary immortals to kill me instantly. In terms of true Qi realm, I am insignificant, but my soul-mind power and saber Dao are all extraordinary techniques. I can kill immortals like drinking water or eating rice. Now, my soul-mind power, saber Dao, and ultimate attack power can kill a level 5 true immortal. Of course, if a level 5 true immortal takes out a powerful Dharma treasure first, he might be able to pierce through my immortal body. In addition, I still have a terrifying trump card, demonic power, but it is in Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. I can't use it normally. Xiaofan also felt his own methods. It could be said to be endless and varied. However, these methods could only be used to kill enemies, they could not solve the problem. Only by obtaining all of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's orthodoxy, gaining enlightenment, and obtaining the truth of his saber Dao, opening the gate to the ancient saber realm, can I kill the demon god's soul and destroy the demon egg. With this in mind, Xiaofan's eyes were filled with determination. He looked into the void and murmured. The third level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove. I, Xiaofan, am coming. At this moment, a purple gold key descended from the sky. The dazzling treasure light enveloped Xiaofan. A mysterious aura seeped into Xiaofan's skin, pores, and cells. Purple key! Xiaofan exclaimed excitedly. Ha 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 ha, young man. You are really a peerless demon. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice resounded in Xiaofan's ears. Who would have thought? Never in their wildest dreams. You again. Ha 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 ha. You again. You brat. Ha ha ha. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice changed from the dignified and heavy tone. It was actually very carefree, almost as if he was convulsing with laughter. Young man. You are a demon with talent. Back then, I was all-powerful in the celestial realm and was considered an invincible figure. I have seen countless people and seen many geniuses. I even witnessed the growth of some immortal emperors with my own eyes. This world is very big and there are many geniuses. A genius is actually just a drop in the ocean. Every era has its own genius. This is an unchanging truth in both the mortal realm and the celestial realm. It is impossible for any genius to be immortal. But, young man, you're the most terrifying genius I've ever seen. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao actually said that Xiaofan was the strongest genius that he had ever seen. This. Xiaofan shuddered when he heard this. Young man, you are in the mortal realm. Even if you are in the celestial realm, your talent is still invincible. You are a genius that will shine for countless eras. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice was firm. Back then, you obtained the most precious purple immortal key in my genius zone. That only means that you are a king among the mortals, but that is nothing. However, in the second floor of my treasure vault, you suppressed all the immortals. You still won first place. You obtained the purple immortal key again. Ha 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 ha. You should know that I didn't think highly of you at first. Even though you've obtained a purple immortal key in the genius zone and have a slight advantage over me, you will still have to face the geniuses of the current generation of the immortal world. I expected that you would be killed by the immortals, and the inheritance jade pendant in your body would fall. You would not be able to protect it. But you won. Not only did you soar through the preliminaries and suppress everyone, but you also continuously defeated tough opponents in the arena battles. You used mortal methods to slay immortals and gods. For a mortal to be able to reach such a level is absolutely something that has never happened since the beginning of the universe's chaos and throughout the ages. In time, you will dominate everything and be invincible. You will become the overlord of this world. This is not an exaggeration at all. That's great. Young man, now I am almost certain that you will be my disciple to inherit my teachings. And my only disciple. Only someone like you has the qualifications to inherit this emperor's legacy. Furthermore, your future cultivation base and battle prowess will far surpass mine. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's words were very sincere. He was definitely praising Xiaofan. There was no doubt about it. Xiaofan blushed with shame. Xiaofan knew himself very well. The fact that he was able to achieve what he had today was, in fact, because of the demon egg in his heart. The soul of the demon god. They were inseparable. This was not because of Xiaofan's innate talent. How many monsters did he have? Alright, young man, you can inherit this purple key. Later, you will be temporarily teleported away from my treasure. Then, after refining the key into your body, it will guide you to the third floor of my treasure. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao said. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice was filled with affection, as if he had completely regarded Xiaofan as his own disciple. The third floor is also extremely dangerous, but it contains some of my most precious treasures, as well as the power of refinement. Even celestial emperors covet the treasures of the third floor. I'm sure you already know this, so I'm not afraid of you. Then, you should prepare well. Just as he finished speaking. Boom! The purple key with an indescribably great aura was refined into Xiaofan's body. Then, bursts of spatial teleportation power surged, sending Xiaofan away. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, on the huge platform outside the planet. Some mortals and immortals who had withdrawn from the exploration, as well as the immortals who had obtained the key to the third level, gathered in groups of 2s and 3s, gazing at the great planet. Jia Lanzi, Wu Li, and the others had the largest lineup, including all the elites from Xiaohan's plane, Jia Lanzi, He Heizi, Yu Yangzi, and the 3 immortals. Now, everyone was waiting to see what would happen. Judging from the number of people, Jia Lanzi's eyes were filled with contemplation and calculation. There aren't many participants left in the arena battle. If I'm not wrong, the arena battle might have already reached the final stage. It should be a one-on-one battle between 2 people to determine the final winner. One-on-one battle? He Heizi, Yu Yangzi, Wu Li, and the others were all nervous. It should be Brother Xiao, against that Violet Luo Fairy. Jia Lanzi said with some certainty. Violet Luo Fairy? Yes, Violet Luo Fairy. That person is also a powerful figure. His methods are swift and fierce, and he controls several immortal treasures. Jia Lanzi nodded. Then if junior brother Xiaohan fights her. Xiao Mingchu's eyes narrowed. Heh. Everyone, don't worry. Violet Luo Fairy is powerful, but it won't be a problem for brother Xiao to defeat her. Jia Lanzi wasn't worried at all. Brother Xiao's improvement is too heaven-defying. When I first descended, brother Xiao didn't have the means he has today. But now, he actually obtained that purple key, an immortal standing nearby, a powerful figure who had also obtained a crimson key, heard Jia Lanzi's words and immediately retorted sarcastically. Jia Lanzi, don't be so sure. Xiaofan might not be able to obtain the purple key. At this moment, a ray of immortal light shot out from within the planet. A thin human figure was enveloped by the immortal light and transported out. He had delicate features, and there were traces of youth on his face. He looked harmless, and a friendly smile hung at the corner of his mouth. In the depths of his eyes, there was an inviolable domineering aura. Who else could it be but Xiaofan? Xiaofan had finally been transported out. Roar! Junior brother Xiaofan! Junior brother Xiaofan! Xiaofan! Brother Xiao, you're amazing. You're really amazing. Ha ha ha. The people in Xiaofan's camp, including Jia Lanzi and Wu Bai, all burst into fierce roars. As for the other immortals and mortals, they cried out involuntarily, "What? It's really Xiaofan. This is unbelievable. Heaven-defying. A heaven-defying person. He defeated many immortals and became the ultimate winner. Is he still immortal? Too terrifying. What a monster." Many of the immortals present were so shocked that they couldn't keep their mouths shut. Some mortals even nearly prostrated themselves in worship. Xiaofan descended to the side of his own people. "Brother Jia Lanzi, I've also obtained the key," Xiaofan said excitedly, but then his expression darkened slightly. "It's a pity that Brother Tao Tai and Brother Breath Earth have fallen. Sigh, forget it. Life and death are decreed by fate. There's nothing to be regretful about." Jia Lanzi comforted him. Then, he said, "Brother Xiao, if I'm not wrong, you obtained the most precious purple key, right? Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you." Xiaofan smiled slightly. "However, to be able to obtain this purple key, I have to thank Brother Jia Lanzi for your help and cooperation. Brother Xiao, you're too courteous. It's because you have the strength to obtain the key." Jia Lanzi smiled. At this moment, boom! A domineering aura burst forth from Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair, conveying the great will of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. "Now, there are 6 people who have obtained the keys to enter the 3rd floor of this emperor's treasure. Among them, there are red keys, orange keys. There are also purple keys. Today, the 6 of you are qualified to enter the 3rd floor of this emperor's treasure. However, each key only allows you to enter. Now, I'll give all of you some time to rest. 10 days later, the keys that have been refined in your bodies will be able to teleport the 6 of you to the 3rd level of my treasure vault. The exploration of the 3rd level is also filled with danger. Although all of you are fearless, there is a high chance that you will die in the 3rd level. Of course, the treasures contained in the 3rd floor are worth gambling with your lives. The most precious treasures that this emperor has collected in his life are all in the 3rd floor. You can explore and obtain as much as you want." After that, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice became silent. To be continued, you. Chapter 679. Oh, we have 10 days. Let us rest and prepare before entering the 3rd level. Xiaofan nodded. Then, Xiaofan smiled at Jia Lanzi. "Brother Jialan, the exploration of the 3rd layer is rather quiet. Previously, the exploration of the genius area and the 2nd layer was like a swarm of bees, with millions or even hundreds of thousands of people exploring together. It was very noisy, but the 3rd layer only has the 6 of us, yes." Jia Lanzi nodded his head, but he quickly said, "Brother Xiao, we cannot be careless. The treasures on the 3rd floor are no small matter. The competition will definitely be more intense. We cannot let our guard down just because there are only 6 of us who entered the 3rd floor." Jia Lanzi said in a low voice as he swept his gaze around. "Brother Xiao, I can be sure that in the 3rd level, other than the 6 of us, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao must have set up other obstacles." "Oh? That is highly possible." Xiaofan nodded his head in agreement. "I also think that it is impossible for the 6 of us to kill each other. Moreover, the quality of the keys we obtained are different. Does this mean that there will be some differences after we enter the third level? Forget it, let's not think about it anymore. No matter how I think about it, I can't think of anything. Since things have progressed to this stage, let's talk about it after we enter. At that time, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao will definitely announce some rules. Yes. Jia Lanzi nodded in agreement. At this moment, Xiaofan turned around and smiled at Wu Yu and the others, sect master, senior brother, elders. Xiaofan said with a smile. In 10 days, I will enter the third level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. I don't know when I will return. Sect master. You should return to the plane for now. He paused. Xiaofan continued. We have all left the plane for a long time. Now, our plane is without a leader. All the elites are out, and there is no one to manage the overall situation. If anything happens, we won't be able to rescue in time. Sect master, you should return first. Don't waste your time waiting for me. Moreover, you must have obtained many opportunities during this expedition. You need to go into seclusion and digest these fortuitous encounters. Xiaofan could see that the aura of Wu Yu and the others already had some faint traces of immortal ascension. After this life and death experience, and even competing with immortals, Wu Yu and the others became mortals. Not only did he obtain a certain amount of immortal fate, but his heart and soul were also strengthened. It was indescribable. Originally, for mortals to become immortals was more difficult than ascending to the heavens. However, most of the mortals on Xiaohan's plane had already firmly grasped the opportunity to become immortals. Indeed, Xiaohan's judgment was accurate. Wu Bai and the others needed to go into seclusion. Comprehension. Moreover, although the opportunity to become an immortal had been seen through by Wu Li and the others, it was fleeting. If they did not strike while the iron was hot, they might lose this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and regret it for the rest of their lives. Hearing that, Wu Yu and the others didn't act coy anymore. Crow patted Xiaohan's shoulder. Xiaohan, be careful. Yes, if we go back now and go into seclusion in the Yaoxia Pagoda, we will have a great chance of ascending to the immortal realm. Junior brother Xiaohan, I can also see a dazzling golden great Tao of immortal ascension right in front of me. Xiao Mingchu also said confidently, I dare to say this now. Cultivate in seclusion peacefully, becoming an immortal is not impossible. Yes. Master, I, Yen Lang, never thought that I would be able to find a clue and opportunity to become an immortal in this life. Even Xiaohan's slave, Yen Lang, had gained a lot this time. It could be said that now, most of the elites on Xiaohan's plane had a chance to become immortals. In the past, in the mortal plane, there had been cases of mortals becoming immortals in one go. However, such a thing was absolutely rare. Even in the occasional mortal plane where there were outstanding people, after countless years of accumulation, there might only be one or two. It was as rare as phoenix feathers or qilin horns. Miracles of immortal ascension. However, in Xiaohan's plane, there were dozens of people who had a chance of becoming immortals. This was simply a miracle. Yes, everyone, return quickly. Don't waste time, return to the plane immediately. Xiaohan hurried. Then, he smiled, I also hope to see a large number of immortals in our plane. Just like that, the people on Xiaohan's plane, with Wu Bai as the leader, began their journey back. Xiaohan. We will wait for your triumphant return in our hometown. Brother Xiao, we will also protect sect leader Wu along the way. When he and the others return to their hometown, we will leave, Black White and Yu Yangzi said with a smile. Oh, brothers, you? Xiaohan asked with a smile. Yes, we are also preparing to return to the immortal world and report back to the sect. Black White nodded slightly to Xiaohan. Then, Black White and Yu Yangzi bowed deeply to Xiaohan. Brother Xiao. Thank you for your help in this expedition. Otherwise, Not only would we not have been able to obtain celestial artifacts and magic treasures, we would have died in the cruel competition. Brother Xiao, after this expedition, you will definitely become an immortal. In the future, when Brother Xiao ascends, we brothers will meet again. Alright, let's part ways for now. Xiaofan also cupped his hands. Brothers, I also thank you for your thoughtfulness in protecting my plains people on their way back to our hometown. Yes, there will be many opportunities for us to meet again in the future. Ha ha ha. When we reach the immortal world, we brothers will have a good drink. Let's chat. After a pause, Xiaofan said in a half-serious, half-joking manner. Brothers, I don't know if I can become an immortal and ascend in a short period of time. However, I expect that the people from my realm, such as my sect leader and eldest senior brother, will ascend to immortality before me. If the two of you meet people from my realm in the immortal world in the future, I hope you'll take care of me. Of course. Brother Xiaofan, don't worry. This is a matter of honor. Black White and Yu Yangzi said solemnly at the same time. Then, Xiaofan watched his plains people leave together with Black White and Yu Yangzi, gradually going further and further away. Gradually disappearing from Xiaofan's vision. Soon, they disappeared from the scanning range of Xiaofan's soul and mental waves. Xiaofan looked away with a slight reluctance. He stared at the place where Wu Li and the others disappeared. Ha ha ha, Brother Xiao, don't be so sentimental. When you pass the third and fourth level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, you can return to your hometown and reunite with your family. Jia Lanzi patted Xiaofan's shoulder lightly. Brother Xiao, after this matter, I will accompany you back to your hometown. I will not be in a hurry to return to the immortal world. I will stay in this mortal world for a few years. Alright, Brother Jia Lanzi, it's a deal. Xiaofan smiled. Then, Xiaofan asked in a low voice. Brother Jia Lanzi, in your opinion, will my sect master and my plains mortal elites who participated in the exploration of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure successfully ascend to the immortal realm? Ascend to immortality, Sect Master Wu and the others. No problem, the outcome is set. In 8 to 10 years, they will become immortals sooner or later. Jia Lanzi said with absolute certainty. However, after becoming immortals, I'm afraid their future achievements will not be too high. They will probably be limited to below level 3 true immortals, unless they have some treasured medicine that defies the heavens. That's not bad. As long as they can become immortals and seek eternal life, that's enough. Xiaofan did not have any regrets. Then, Xiaofan sat cross-legged. Brother Jia Lanzi, let's rest and recuperate. 10 days later, we will face a mysterious journey. Alright. Jia Lanzi also sat down, his entire body glowing with treasure light. Prepare well. The other immortals who had obtained keys and were about to enter the third level in 10 days also calmed down and meditated, conserving their energy. The remaining immortals and mortals who had previously withdrawn also found their own way out. Let's go, we should also return to our plane. Although we did not gain much this time, we have passed the test. Going back and cultivating in seclusion can also improve our realm and spiritual cultivation. The mortals were not fond of staying at the inn. They all left together. The remaining immortals, let's return to the immortal world. Sigh, when we came, we were full of ambition, but now we return with our tails between our legs. It really doesn't feel good, don't be so long-winded. It's already very good to be able to return alive. How many immortals have died this time? Don't be so ungrateful. Yes, let's go back quickly. At least we have refined and controlled a few magic treasures, it can be considered a harvest. Boom. 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 These immortals who were eager to return immediately burned their spirit talismans. The spirit talismans turned into spatial wormholes, connecting to the immortal world in the depths of the void. They all flashed into the spatial wormholes. They embarked on the journey back to the immortal world. However, there were some immortals who looked coldly at Xiaofan, Jialanzi, and the others. They also began to communicate with each other through soul transmission. Let's also go back and report the current situation. Let the immortal emperors know. The lords may not know, but the most precious treasure of immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's life is hidden in the third floor. These treasures cannot be obtained by Xiaohan, Jialanzi, and the others. We must let the lords think of a way to reverse the situation. These immortals, with ulterior motives, also left quickly. There were still a few immortals left, their eyes brewing a sinister plot. They all quietly glanced at the position where Xiaohan was sitting and communicated with each other through soul transmission. If we go back now, it will be tantamount to falling short of success. Although we have control of a few immortal treasures, it is not enough. Look at that Xiaohan, immortal like a dog. There are at least hundreds of thousands of immortal treasures in his body. Moreover, he will enter the third floor and obtain even more precious treasures. Humph. In for a penny, in for a pound. What do you mean? Sneak into the plane where Xiaohan is. Humph. Just now, I have already done something to Xiaohan's mortal companions. No one knows. Now, we will follow them, and when we reach Xiaohan's plane, we will kidnap those close to Xiaohan. Then, we will threaten Xiaohan and force him to hand over some immortal treasures to us. Oh? Like this? Do you dare? Do you dare to do it? Fortune comes from danger. Once we succeed, we will extort tens of thousands of treasures. When we return to the immortal world, we will definitely be valued by the higher-ups, and even have the resources to establish a small sect. Let's do it. Damn it. As they spoke, the immortals left without batting an eyelid. Not long after, on the entire platform, only Xiaohan, Jialanzi, and 4 other immortals were left. These 6 people would enter the third floor of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure in 10 days, and begin a new round of adventure. To be continued, you. Chapter 680. Outside a planet that exuded an ancient and mysterious aura was the vast universe. The heavenly wind stirred. YBDU. Near this planet, on a floating continent, there were only 6 people sitting cross-legged. Xiaohan, Jialanzi, and the other 4 immortals who had obtained the keys to explore the third floor of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove. 10 days. They had to wait here for 10 days. Now, all of them were nourishing their minds and absorbing the experience gained from exploring the second floor. More importantly, the power of refinement on the surface of the bodies of the 5 immortals, including Jialanzi, was raging like a hurricane. Yes, these 5 immortals, among the hundreds of thousands of immortals who entered the second floor, had the strongest luck, the strongest strength, and the most terrifying willpower. It could be said that these 5 immortals were the geniuses of their generation in the immortal world. After the preliminaries and the arena battles, the power of refinement in the dantian of these 5 immortals was extremely terrifying. However, before this, they did not have much time and effort to properly use the power of refinement to attack the countless treasures in their dantian. Now, taking advantage of the 10 days of rest, they also squeezed out the power of refinement to attack the treasures they wanted. Boom, boom, boom. Therefore, in these 10 days, from time to time, there would be brilliant pillars of immortal chi above the heads of these immortals. Auspicious clouds and auspicious beasts steamed, and traces of refining and controlling immortal weapons appeared one after another. Xiaohan also understood. One by one, the immortals were refining and controlling immortal weapons. Even Jialanzi. He had always been indifferent. Now, all of them were bound to refine celestial artifacts at every second. Xiaohan knew that before this, Jialanzi had only refined and controlled 2 immortal weapons. But now, Jialanzi had refined and controlled 5 immortal weapons. Xiaohan's mind swept over. It was very interesting. He discovered that the Immortals had chosen to refine and control immortal artifacts that were either defensive, life-saving, or even, fleeing immortal artifacts. Even Jia Lanzi had refined a supreme-grade immortal robe armor. It seems that everyone has realized that the third level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove will be extremely dangerous. Everyone gave up on offensive treasures and chose to defend and save their lives. Xiaofan smiled slightly. Meanwhile, in Xiaofan's dantian, he had also accumulated a lot of refining power. As for the treasures, they were even more terrifying. There were more than 200,000 of them. However, Xiaofan did not refine and control these magic treasures. As a mortal, Xiaofan's ability to control and use immortal artifacts was greatly restricted. For example, even if Xiaofan managed to refine a celestial set of armor, he wouldn't be able to activate its defensive formation. After all, Xiaofan didn't have any celestial qi in his body. He only had an immortal body, but he didn't cultivate immortal energy. Forget it. I won't use Xiaofan's refining power for the time being. Let's store it all up. When I've accumulated enough, I'll try to break through the inheritance jade plate and obtain the inheritance of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's Dao of the Saber. Xiaofan nodded. Then, he closed his eyes to rest. In his sea of consciousness, his soul and mind power were still splitting. The needle-shaped weapons, which were as small as a cow's hair, had already been split into 2, and then into 4. They were extremely powerful and could almost penetrate everything. If Xiaofan could go one step further, he could make these needle-shaped weapons split into 8. Then, its power would not be the same as before. It would be many times stronger. Now, Xiaofan could use these needle-shaped weapons to kill a level 5 true immortal without warning. But if they could be split into 8, they would probably be able to pierce through a level 6 true immortal, or even a level 7 true immortal. Therefore, while the immortals around him were refining magic treasures and immortal artifacts, Xiaofan was studying his soul splitting. However, it was too difficult to make the needle-shaped weapon split into 8 and kill immortals of a higher level. It was more difficult than ascending to heaven. Every time he tried to make the needle-shaped weapon split, Xiaofan's soul couldn't keep up. Once he tried to force the needle-shaped weapons to split, his mind would instantly go blank, and he would even feel a sharp pain in his mind. Even the solid mental energy star would emit a crackling sound, as if it was in danger of collapsing and exploding. No! I can't do it now. My soul is not strong enough. Xiaofan's forehead was covered in cold sweat. He calmed himself down and stopped forcefully cultivating. I understand now. My soul foundation is not strong enough. My solid mental energy star is also far from full. If I want to make the needle-shaped weapon split into 8, I must complete the follow-up finger technique of the extermination of heavens and earth mental energy technique. Xiaofan completely understood. However, Xiaofan didn't have enough foundation to complete the follow-up finger technique of the extermination of heavens and earth mental energy technique. It seems that my path of cultivation is still very long. Xiaofan let out a breath of turbid air and stopped forcing himself. He completely relaxed his mind and looked at Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair, that mysterious planet. Xiaofan's eyes suddenly became determined, and he said word by word in his heart. In this third level, I must obtain even greater opportunities to increase my combat power. The Celestial Realm. This was the highest level of this world. Immortals and mortals were on completely different levels of life. The Celestial Realm and the mortal world were worlds of different levels. The Celestial Realm was glorious, resplendent, majestic, magnificent, full of legends, full of miracles, full of miracles, full of immortality, full of supremacy. At this moment, in an extremely special area of the Celestial Realm. In this area, the sky was completely wrapped in a ball of faintly discernible celestial clouds. It couldn't be seen clearly. Below this ball of celestial clouds, there was an endless green forest, fragrant celestial plants, countless phoenixes, auspicious birds, celestial bees, and beautiful celestial butterflies. They flew and circled, dragging out rays of dreamy colors. A special fragrance was emitted. This fragrance could make people forget about worldly worries and feel relaxed and happy. Even the land here was already godly soil, celestial soil. It was many times more precious than the elixirs in the mortal world. For example, if a mortal was infected with an incurable disease, as long as he ate a little bit of the celestial soil here, the disease would be cured. Moreover, if a mortal lived in this area, it would be easy for them to regain their youth, be reborn, and be reborn. It wouldn't be a problem for them to live for hundreds of thousands of years. In this area, between the forest on the ground and the celestial clouds in the sky, there was a continuous chain of palaces. This was a celestial palace. In the palaces, there were all kinds of celestial mountains and spiritual beasts. The palaces in the sky were extraordinary. Moreover, in that celestial cloud, clouds and mist filled the air. Immortal chi was faintly discernible. Bursts of fragrance similar to agarwood steamed and enshrouded the air. The gauze curtain fluttered. Inside the gauze curtain, there were 3 people sitting cross-legged. In the middle, there was a small antique table. There was nothing else on the table, just 3 cups of steaming hot smoke. Looking at the 3 people inside the gauze curtain, they were all middle-aged men. Their auras didn't seem the least bit fierce. In fact, they were very peaceful, simple, and simple. They looked like ordinary people, even amiable. However, occasionally, there would be surging momentum in their eyes, as if countless spacetime were being born and destroyed, and countless stars were vanishing. These 3 people. They were the 3 immortal emperors of the celestial realm. In the celestial realm, immortal emperors belonged to the top of the pyramid. Usually, the immortals referred to were exalted immortals, or perfected immortals. In the celestial realm, perfected immortals were as numerous as the eternal sands. However, the number of immortal emperors was extremely limited. Immortal emperors were great figures who held great power. When an immortal emperor was angry, a galaxy would explode. And at this moment, the 3 immortal emperors in the gauze curtain, among the few immortal emperors in the entire celestial realm, were of extremely high status. Now that the invincible blade's treasure has appeared, it has become the focus of the entire celestial realm. All the immortal emperors are paying close attention. Among the 3 immortal emperors, one of them wore a purple robe, had a jade-like face, and looked like a scholar. He took a sip of tea and smiled. According to the information we received, the exploration of the 2nd layer of the invincible blade's treasure has ended. Some young perfected immortals returned from the lower realm and reported a lot of things. The immortal emperor in a green robe focused his gaze slightly. The invincible blade placed his most precious treasures on the 3rd layer. Now, hundreds of thousands of young perfected immortals went to the lower realm and suffered heavy casualties. In the end, only a few people could enter the 3rd layer. 6 people. The immortal emperor in a white robe said with certainty. Within my jurisdiction, a few young perfected immortals have returned. 6 people entered the 3rd layer of the invincible blade's treasure. And, among them, there's a mortal. Mortal? The other 2 immortal emperors' expressions changed obviously. There's something fishy about this matter. Moreover, according to the information from below, this mortal's competitiveness is even stronger than the other immortals. It's very likely that the most important treasure of the 3rd layer of the invincible blade will fall into the hands of that mortal. There are so many suspicious points. There are so many suspicious points. How can a mortal suppress the celestial realm's pride of this era? This kind of thing has never happened in billions of years. Looks like we should personally go to the lower realm. There must be something fishy if something is out of the ordinary. Moreover, the few most precious treasures of the invincible blade must not fall into the hands of a mortal. The immortal emperor in a purple robe immediately stood up. Then, the muscles at the corner of his eyes twitched a few times, and he said with a soft voice that was almost inaudible. Moreover, in the third layer of the invincible blade, it's very likely that it's hiding, that secret of ours in the past. The other two immortal emperors' expressions changed drastically, and they also stood up. We need to think about this matter at length. However, as immortal emperors, our aura is too strong, and we're rejected by the laws of the mortal world. Once we descend, it's very likely that we'll directly shatter countless mortal space planes. We need to use some special immortal weapons to descend. Don't be impatient. That mortal still needs some time to obtain the treasures of the third layer of the invincible blade. Let's plan carefully. Alright, let's plan before we act. The immortal emperor in a purple robe slowly sat down, and there were changes in his eyes. In short, we must not let that mortal obtain the great treasures. The few treasures of the invincible blade must return to the celestial realm. They must be under our control. Once those treasures are obtained by the mortal, it'll be the greatest shame of the celestial realm. A great shame? Absolutely not. To be continued. Chapter 681. Xiaofan, Jialanzi, and the others naturally did not know that there were already immortals in the immortal world who had reacted to the exploration of immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. And it was not an ordinary reaction, but an extremely violent one. Finally, Xiaofan, a mortal who had completely suppressed the immortals, had attracted the attention of the immortal emperor. Moreover, the immortal emperor would formulate a series of strategies to deal with Xiaofan. The world was finally going to be stirred up, and a major event was about to brew. On the floating continent outside immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. Ibdu, 6 people sat cross-legged in meditation. 10 days of rest was coming to an end. Today is the day the third level of immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure will open. Xiaofan suddenly opened his eyes, which were full of light. Jialanzi and the other immortals also opened their eyes one after another. Some even stood up and stretched their muscles. Everyone rested on their spears and readied themselves for battle. Their gazes were all fixed on immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair, the Black Planet. At this time, Xiaofan felt that the purple key that he had refined into his body was stirring, producing a throbbing that connected with his soul. It wasn't just Xiaofan. Jialanzi and the other immortals all had strange expressions on their faces. They couldn't help but place their hands on their dantians. The keys they had refined into their bodies were there, and they were all beating rhythmically at this moment. It seems like we're about to enter the third level. Jialanzi blurted out. Yes. I felt it too. Xiaofan immediately nodded. Brother Jialanzi, immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure is known as the greatest treasure in the universe. Now, we have explored to the third level. This adventure is coming to an end. Yes, Jialanzi said with a sigh. This adventure is really paved with corpses. Jialanzi paused, then shook his head slightly. In the first layer, the area of geniuses, countless mortal elites died. In the second layer, even our generation perished. The most outstanding young immortals. That's not the way to put it, said an immortal to the side. His expression was sinister, but his eyes were burning with desire. He licked his lips. Although we suffered heavy casualties, it wasn't all for naught. At the very least, we are still alive in our bodies. It had already been stuffed with tens of thousands of precious magic treasures. We even have the opportunity to continue exploring. The third level is filled with violent refinement energy. Once we absorb it, we'll be able to gain perfect control over all of our immortal items and magical treasures. Once we return to the immortal world, we'll be able to revitalize our sect. Right at this moment. Boom! In Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair, that planet started to squirm. Moreover, from the inside out, it emitted a beautiful and devastating light. Like a star. Like the blazing sun. Like a gem. Boundless radiance. Illuminate the world. This light contained an incomparably great will and the domineering aura of a monarch descending upon the world. It was as if the gods of the heavens had filled every inch of this light. Worthy of worship. At this moment, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice resounded again, "Everyone, the 10 days of recuperation is over. I believe that in these 10 days, all of you have recovered to your peak state. Not bad at all. Furthermore, all of you should have completely digested the experience you gained from exploring the second level. If I'm not wrong, then your current strength should have improved quite a bit compared to when you first arrived, right? It's impossible that you didn't improve." Yes, the 6 people standing on the land, including the mortals and immortals who retreated, all had improved in strength and willpower. Take Xiaofan as an example. In the second level, during the preliminaries, he had completed the 20-second spirit finger technique of the exterminating skies and decimating earth spirit technique. In the arena battle, Xiaofan had comprehended the soul-splitting and the weapon-splitting technique. Xiaofan even absorbed some superficial knowledge of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's Blade Dao inheritance, 1/50th of it. Xiaofan himself had made great progress. Then, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice sounded again, "Then, I won't be long-winded. The 6 of you will enter the 3rd level of my treasure trove. Now, I'll tell you the general situation of the 3rd level so that you won't be at a complete loss after entering. All of you, listen carefully." With that said, Xiaofan, Jialanzi, and the other 4 immortals all focused their attention and listened attentively. As I've told you before, the 3rd level contains the most precious treasures that I've collected in my life. These treasures are all epic-level Dharma treasures. Any one of them is enough to make any immortal emperor go all out. Let's put it this way. In the 3rd level, there are a total of 4 Dharma treasures. If these 4 Dharma treasures were taken to the immortal world, they would definitely rank in the top 4 of all the Dharma treasures. Gasp. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's words caused everyone present to gasp. Simply put, the top 4 Dharma treasures in the immortal world were on the 3rd level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove. Top 4. Incredible. How incredible. Xiaofan clicked his tongue in wonder. Listen carefully. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice was filled with unconcealable pride. The first Dharma treasure. That is, the number 1 Dharma treasure in the immortal world, the Qiankuan pouch. The function of this Qiankuan pouch is space. The mysteries of space. A small pouch can contain countless planets. It can even contain a quarter of the immortal world. As for the mortal world, once the pouch is opened, almost 80% of the mortal world in the entire universe will be contained in it. This Qiankuan pouch is the most precious treasure of my life. When the Qiankuan pouch appears, the immortal emperors fight to the death for it. Heavens! 1 pouch can contain countless planets. Xiaofan was completely shocked. He glanced sideways. Even Jialanzi. His eyes were completely lifeless. Jialanzi kept muttering to himself. The Qiankuan pouch. This is the number 1 immortal treasure in the ancient legends of the immortal world. Originally, I thought it was just a legend and that there would be no such treasure in the world. Who would have thought that this treasure would be placed on the 3rd level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove? Unbelievable, unbelievable. Among the 4 Dharma treasures, the second is the Emperor Slayer Saber. Once this Emperor Slayer Saber is activated, it can even behead an immortal emperor. Back then, I once wielded the Emperor Slayer Saber and killed 7 immortal emperors. With a flash of the saber, heads fell to the ground. Among the 4 Dharma treasures, the 3rd is the Linglong Pagoda. This is a time immortal treasure. The Linglong Pagoda. The first level is 10 days inside and 1 day outside. The second level is 100 days inside and 1 day outside. The third level is 1000 days inside and 1 day outside, and the fourth level is 10,000 days inside and 1 day outside. To enter the first level, all immortals can enter the first level of the Linglong Pagoda. The second level requires level 7 true immortals, the third level requires level 8 true immortals, and the fourth level requires level 9 true immortals. In the vast immortal world, this Linglong Pagoda is the best of all time immortal treasures. Of the 4 treasures, the fourth is the heavenly demon clone. It's the gene of a special race that existed in ancient times, and I've refined it into a clone. Once I obtain the heavenly demon clone, I'll be able to refine a clone. Yes, once refined, the heavenly demon clone's strength will be equivalent to a mid-tier immortal emperor. Ha ha ha. How about I tell you the 4 most precious treasures? Don't you feel suffocated? Ha 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 ha. I'll boast that none of the immortal emperors in the immortal world are qualified to own one of these 4 Dharma treasures, including the immortal emperor who ranks first. Humph. In terms of wealth, I, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao, am number 1 in the immortal world. Indeed, Xiaofan and the other 5 felt suffocated when Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao mentioned the 4 Dharma treasures. They were too powerful, and their quality was too high. The 4 Dharma treasures included attack, time, space, and a clone with the strength of an intermediate-level immortal emperor. That's great. That's great. The immortals' mouths were parched. At that moment, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice rang again. All right, then, I'll now announce the rules of the third floor's adventure. If you want to obtain these treasures, you'll have to follow the rules I've set. Next, the 6 of you will be teleported to the third floor. Because the keys you've obtained are of different quality, you'll be teleported to a different floor of a trial space. Different floors of a trial space? Xiaofan and the others were a little dazed. The third floor of my treasure vault is, in fact, a trial space. This trial space is divided into a total of 7 trial worlds: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and purple. 7 trial worlds. In these 7 trial worlds, there are creatures that I've reared in captivity. These creatures were captured from an alternate dimension when I was exploring the universe. The reason these creatures were able to survive in my trial space was because they relied on the power of refinement. Yes, the power of refinement nourishes their life force. Alternate dimensions creatures are very special. There are humanoid creatures, plant-type creatures, metal-type creatures, ore-type creatures, and some special life forms. According to the strength of these alternate dimensions creatures, I've divided them into 7 levels. Level 1 alternate dimensions creatures are the weakest, and level 7 alternate dimensions creatures are the strongest. Correspondingly, there are 7 levels of alternate dimensions creatures in the 7 trial worlds. The red trial world is filled with level 1 alternate dimensions creatures, the orange trial world is filled with level 2 alternate dimensions creatures, and the purple trial world is filled with level 7 alternate dimensions creatures. As for how weak level 1 alternate dimensions creatures are, and how strong level 7 alternate dimensions creatures are, you'll have to find out for yourselves after you enter. I'll only divulge one thing. Level 7 alternate dimensions strength is comparable to an ordinary immortal emperor. As for the specific trial rules, you'll receive the corresponding hints after you enter. Then, those who obtain the red key enter the red trial world. Those who obtain the orange key enter the orange trial world. Those who obtain the purple key enter the purple trial world. As soon as this was said. What? Since I obtained a purple key, then I should be able to enter the purple trial world. And in the purple trial world, there are the most powerful level 7 dimensional creatures. Their battle prowess is equivalent to an ordinary immortal emperor. Xiaohan's heart suddenly stopped. Because these alternate dimensions creatures rely on the power of refinement to survive. Therefore, every time you kill a creature from another dimension, the power of refinement will erupt and fuse into your body. After that, you can rely on the power of refinement to charge and refine the celestial artifacts and magic treasures that are sealed in your body, allowing you to gain complete control of them. The lower the level of the creatures in the alternate dimension, the weaker the refining power in their bodies. Let me put it this way. Power of refinement gained from killing one rank 2-dimensional creature. It's equivalent to the power of refinement you obtained from killing 100 level, 1-dimensional creatures. Listen carefully. Of the 4 magic treasures, the first-ranked Cosmos bag was placed in the purple trial world. The second-ranked the Arch Slayer saber was placed in the blue trial world. The third-ranked Linglong pagoda was placed in the cyan trial world. The fourth-ranked Sky Demon clone was in the green trial world. These are the top 4 levels of the 7 trial worlds. As for the red, orange, and yellow trial worlds below, there are no celestial artifacts or magic treasures. Adventurers who enter the Crimson Trial world and kill 10,000 Class 1-dimensional beings can enter the second trial, the Orange Trial world. Adventurers who enter the Orange Trial world and kill 10,000 Class 2-dimensional beings can enter the third trial, the Yellow Trial world. Adventurers who enter the Yellow Trial world and kill 10,000 Class 3-dimensional beings can enter the fourth trial, the Green Trial world. In the Green Trial world, kill 10,000 Class 4-dimensional beings and obtain the mystic treasures that I have placed in the Green Trial world, the Sky Demon clan's clone, and so on. The Purple Trial world has level, 7-dimensional creatures that are extremely powerful. That is why there are only 100 level, 7-dimensional creatures in the entire Purple Trial world. Adventurers who enter the Purple Trial world and kill all 100 level, 7-dimensional creatures can obtain the Cosmos bag. If you want to continue, you can teleport down to the Blue Trial world and kill 10,000 level, 6-dimensional creatures to obtain the Arch Slayer saber. If you want to give up in the trial or are surrounded by dimensional creatures and are about to be killed, you can teleport out with your mind and end the adventure. However, once you are teleported out, the magic treasures in your body that you have yet to refine and control will be destroyed. Do you understand the rules now? In that case, you will be teleported according to the keys you have obtained. Understood? I understand completely. Xiaofan's eyes lit up. I obtained a purple key, so I will be teleported to the purple trial world of the 7th trial world, where the most powerful level, 7-dimensional creatures are. Of course, the most precious magic treasure is placed in the 7th trial world, the Cosmos bag. There are 100 level, 7-dimensional creatures, so I have to kill all of them. Suddenly, Xiaofan's heart tightened. Oh my god! The level, 7-dimensional creatures in the purple trial world are all of them, ordinary immortal emperors. In other words, I will have to face 100 immortal emperors. How am I supposed to kill them? Will I kill them, or will they kill me? At this moment, 7 teleportation powers shot out from Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair, the planet, and enveloped Xiaofan and the other 6. Brother Xiao. I have obtained a scarlet key, and I will be teleported to a trial world, the lowest grade scarlet trial world. I will need to kill 10,000 level 1-dimensional creatures before I can be teleported to an orange trial world. Brother Xiao, you have obtained a purple key, and the purple trial world that you will be teleported to is extremely dangerous. Brother Xiao, if you encounter any trouble, you can teleport out with your thoughts. Don't force yourself. Jia Lanzi said quickly. Alright. Brother Jia Lanzi, I know that my life is more important than treasures. Xiaofan had just finished speaking when he was teleported away. The 6 of them had already disappeared from this platform. They had all entered the 3rd level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. Of the 6 of them, some entered the Red Trial world, some entered the Orange Trial world, and only Xiaofan entered the most terrifying Purple Trial world. To be continued. Chapter 682. After Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao finished announcing the rules of the third floor, 6 mysterious spatial teleportation forces shot out from the planet and covered Xiaofan and the other 5 people as they were teleported. Soon, the bodies of the 6 people began to fade. About to disappear. Xiaofan quickly glanced around and discovered that among the 6 people, Jia Lanzi and the other 2 immortals were teleported to the lowest level of the trial world, the red trial world. The remaining 2 immortals were teleported to the orange trial world. As for Xiaofan, he was teleported to the most difficult trial world, the purple trial world. For Jia Lanzi and the other immortals who had been teleported into the red trial world, they had to kill 10,000 level, one-dimensional creatures, then enter the orange trial world and kill 10,000 level, two-dimensional creatures, then enter the yellow trial world and kill 10,000 level, three-dimensional creatures, then enter the 4th level, the green trial world, and kill 10,000 level, four-dimensional creatures. Only then would they be able to obtain a magic treasure. The difficulty was also extremely high. Moreover, the 3 immortals who entered the red trial world were inferior to the 2 immortals who entered the orange trial world. They might have the upper hand. This was what Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao had said in the second level's arena battle. The 7 types of keys were all of different quality. The higher the quality of the key, the greater the advantage in the 3rd level. Finally, boom. 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 The 6 people were sucked into the planet. It really is a 7-story tower building. The moment they teleported in, Xiaofan vaguely saw a huge 7-story tower building. This building was extremely simple and unadorned. Grand. The exterior was engraved with many subtle and mysterious runes. 7th level. Indeed, it was divided into 7 colors: red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, and purple. But soon, Xiaofan's vision blurred. His figure turned into a stream of light and directly entered the highest level of the tower building. The 7th level. The purple trial world. Forget about Xiaofan. Jia Lanzi and the other 2 immortals completed the teleportation in an instant. The 1st level of the tower building. The red trial space. The moment the teleportation was completed, Jia Lanzi stabilized his figure. He immediately released his immortal senses and discovered that this was a boundless space. In this space, red was the main color. There were grasslands, mountains, rivers, and even oceans, as well as the sun, moon, and stars. At this moment, the 2 immortals who had teleported over with Jia Lanzi. Jia Lanzi's immortal sense had already disappeared. He couldn't sense the 2 immortals at all. It's really all-encompassing. This Crimson Trial world has the feel of an inner universe. Jia Lanzi quickly checked his body and found that his immortal qi, strength, and various techniques were not restricted. Inside his dantian, countless dharma treasures were hoarded. Jia Lanzi flew directly at a low altitude. His immortal sense spread out to the greatest extent, carefully sensing this world. At the same time, he was also on guard. Right at this moment. Jia Lanzi's figure suddenly stopped. The next moment, boom. Behind a hill in front of them, a fiendish aura rose from the sky. Then. Xiao. Swoosh. Afterimages flickered. 6 strangely shaped creatures lined up in a row, blocking Jia Lanzi's path. Gagagaga, after waiting for so many years, finally. Gagagaga, the adventurers have come. Gagagaga, the 6 strange creatures let out strange sounds like ducks quacking, looking at Jia Lanzi with a murderous look. Creatures from another dimension. Jia Lanzi's heart skipped a beat. Then, he directly observed them. These 6 odd-shaped creatures looked extremely strange. They were about 10 meters tall, with the head of a bull, the body of a human, and the tail of a ponytail. Their bodies were covered with scales that looked like fish scales, and their eyes were bulging and bloodshot. They held steel tridents in their hands, looking like fiends. However, judging from their auras, they're roughly equivalent to an ordinary level 2 true immortal. Jia Lanzi immediately heaved a sigh of relief. These creatures from another dimension are of the lowest level, level 1. Their strength is roughly equivalent to an ordinary level 2 true immortal in a small sect in the immortal world. I, Jia Lanzi, have many peerless immortal arts, and have refined and controlled several supreme-grade immortal artifacts. Dealing with these creatures is indeed easy. Jia Lanzi nodded slightly. Kill. Kill this guy. Ga. Kill him. The creatures from another dimension were about to pounce on Jia Lanzi. Boom. Jia Lanzi was the first to act. His 5 fingers clawed, and space collapsed. Cloud Dragon Hand. A large, mottled hand appeared out of thin air. Pucci. The large hand squeezed, and the 6 creatures from another dimension exploded. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. After the explosion, the creatures turned into streams of refined power that rushed directly into Jia Lanzi's dantian. Not bad. After killing these creatures from another dimension, I can indeed obtain the power of refinement. Jia Lanzi nodded in satisfaction. At the same time, Wang. Ripples flickered above Jia Lanzi's head, and a number appeared, 10,000. I need to kill 10,000 of these level 1 creatures from another dimension before I can enter the deeper orange trial world. Kill. Find as many of these creatures as you can, and kill as many as 10,000 as possible. Jia Lanzi's figure flickered, and he disappeared without a trace. Orange Trial World. Compared to the Crimson Trial World, it was a trial world that was even more advanced. This red trial world was a world of metal. The entire world was made of rare metals that were even more precious than gold. At this moment, in front of an immortal who had entered the orange trial world, several metallic creatures appeared. They were completely golden in color. They wore golden armor, and their bodies were made entirely of metal. They were the size of an adult, but their eyes burned with the flames of wisdom. They were wielding swords and other weapons. Adventurers? Kill. Kill these adventurers. Rip. The metallic creatures' voices were extremely piercing. Equivalent to the strength of an ordinary level 3 true immortal. It seems that ordinary immortal spells will not be able to kill them. Use your magic treasures. The immortal who encountered the metallic creatures made a prompt decision to summon one of the treasures he'd previously refined and mastered. Boom! A warblade appeared, and with a sweep, the metallic creatures in front of him were killed as easily as chopping vegetables. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the power of refinement flowed into the immortal's body. Then, a string of numbers appeared above the immortal's head. 10,000 inch. That's right. Kill these guys. This way, I can slowly refine and control more immortal weapons, increasing my combat power bit by bit. However, the troublesome part is that I have to kill 10,000 of these metallic life forms to pass the test and enter the yellow trial world. There's no other way, since I'm already here. I'll just keep killing like this. Trial World. 7th level. Purple Trial World. The most terrifying trial world. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao had said very clearly that in this purple trial world, there were 100 level 7-dimensional creatures, and these creatures had combat power comparable to an intermediate immortal emperor. Damn, I don't know if I'm lucky or unlucky. Xiaofan ended the teleportation, and his figure stabilized. Xiaofan's soul consciousness spread out, and he discovered that he was currently in a small, narrow room. It was a room of 12 square meters. It was completely dark inside the room. Moreover, there were no furnishings in the room. However, there was a door of light in front of the room. Now, should I open the door in front of me and walk out from here? Xiaohan's mind moved slightly. However, Xiaohan's soul ripple could not penetrate the door of light, and he could not see the world behind it. However, Xiaohan had a vague premonition that there was something extremely terrifying hidden behind the door of light. There was a kind of palpitation that penetrated deep into Xiaohan's bones, gradually occupying him. Level 7 dimensional creatures, Immortal Emperor level strength. Xiaohan let out a long sigh of relief, and then made up his mind. Since I'm already here, I'll take a gamble. I hope there's a chance of survival. Thinking of this, Xiaohan walked towards the door of light step by step. At this moment, ha 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 ha, young man, welcome to the purple trial world. Opening the door of light means that your trial has officially begun. In Xiaohan's body, the two purple keys fused into one, and a trace of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's divine sense was produced. At this moment, this trace of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's divine sense began to communicate with Xiaohan. Young man, you are the holder of two purple keys, and you also have my legacy in your body. Yes, I have already regarded you as my disciple. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's divine sense spoke with fervor and assurance. Huh? Xiaohan was stunned. Ha 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 ha, young man, I believe that among all the people who entered my treasure, including those immortals, you are the most suitable to inherit my legacy. Therefore, in this purple trial world, I will still take care of you. Take care of me? Xiaohan was completely shocked. Yes. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's divine sense said slowly. Young man, once you open the door of light, you will face level 7 dimensional creatures. I risked my injuries to capture these level 7 dimensional creatures. They are very powerful, comparable to middle-level immortal emperors in the immortal world. As for your strength, young man. Ha ha ha, any one of these 100 level 7 dimensional creatures can kill you 1,000 times. 10,000 times. Hiss. Xiaohan took a deep breath. If that's the case, I have no chance at all in this trial? No. I will take care of you. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice became a little excited. Young man, you will be killed in this purple trial world. But, every time you are killed, you can resurrect. To be continued. Chapter 683. Every time I am killed, I can be revived. Xiaohan was completely confused. Die? Resurrection? Ha 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 ha, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's divine sense roared. Forget it, forget it. Young man, since you're my disciple and successor, I won't keep you in suspense. I won't tease you anymore. Now, this emperor will tell you the rules of the purple trial space. Yes, this purple trial space only allows those who have obtained a purple key to enter. There is only one purple key, and there is no extra. Therefore, only you have entered this purple trial space. Therefore, these rules are only for you. A rule that only applies to me? Xiaohan steadied his mind and listened attentively. Since you are this emperor's chosen successor, then this emperor will nurture you. I can't let you die so easily after you go out. Ha ha ha. Young man, you can treat this purple world of trials as a form of tempering for you. I hope you can improve by leaps and bounds through this trial. Celestial Emperor Zhu Dao said solemnly. Xiaohan held his breath. First, let's talk about the level 7 alternate space life form in the purple trial world. This is a special race in the universe. Their innate talents are extraordinary. Although they aren't humans, their life structure is very similar to humans. Back then, after I captured them, I refined them. I've refined my Saber Dao into their bodies. My most powerful Saber Dao is the 100 Saber Dao. There are a total of 100 saber moves. They were refined into the bodies of the 100 level, 7-dimensional creatures. This allowed each of them to grasp a saber move. This level 7 alternate dimension creature is extremely valuable because of its bloodline and bone structure. Each and every one of them is gifted. Therefore, after each of them mastered one of this Emperor's saber moves, their attack power increased. That's equivalent to a mid-level Immortal Emperor. However, the life structure of these level 7 creatures from alternate dimensions. In the end, they can't compare to us Immortals. Therefore, every level 7 alternate dimension creature can only absorb and master one of my sword moves. You can't master 2 or more moves at the same time. Otherwise, your body will explode and you will die. As it turns out, the 100 generations Saber Dao was formed by 100 saber moves from the Absolute Saber Celestial Emperor. The seal was refined into the bodies of the 100 level 7 extra-dimensional creatures. Each level 7 extra-dimensional creature inherited one move. Combined with their own energy, their combat power. It's equivalent to an intermediate Celestial Emperor. Xiaofan finally understood what Celestial Emperor Zhu Dao meant. The Great Saber Celestial Emperor continued. Young man, your trial is to challenge these 100 level 7 extra-dimensional creatures one by one. The first level 7 creature from the alternate dimension had mastered the first move of this Emperor's 100 lives of the Saber Dao. When you challenge him, he will suppress his own energy. It wouldn't directly erupt with Immortal Emperor level energy, otherwise, you would be instantly killed. After suppressing his energy, he only used the first move of the 100 lives of the Saber Dao to fight you. If you were killed, you would be resurrected immediately and challenge again. If you were killed 100 times, 1,000 times, no matter how many times, you could revive and challenge again until you could defeat him. When you defeat the first level 7 creature from the alternate dimension, this Emperor believes that you will also be able to comprehend the first move of this Emperor's 100 lives of the Saber Dao. Moreover, you will obtain the refining power of this Emperor's Saber Dao Legacy Jade Tablet in your Dantian. Also, when you defeat a level 7-dimensional creature from the alternate dimension, you will completely refine and control him, making him your slave. A slave who will never betray you and be completely brainwashed. However, in this purple trial space, you can't release them to fight for you for the time being. Of course, the content of your trial is far from just defeating a level 7-dimensional creature. You have to continuously defeat 100 level 7-dimensional creatures before you can pass. After defeating these 100 level 7-dimensional creatures, you will master 100 moves of this Emperor's 100 lives of the Saber Dao. You will officially become this Emperor's most qualified disciple. You will also obtain this Emperor's most precious treasure, the Cosmos Bag. And the qualifications to enter the 4th level. The 4th level of this Emperor's treasure is only open to you. The 4th level contains the last trace of this Emperor's Saber Dao inheritance, which is also the most important essence. Also, at this point, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's divine consciousness became extremely agitated. This agitation was filled with anger, unwillingness, roaring, and helplessness. However, he quickly calmed down and said indifferently, "There is also a secret of this Emperor's in the 4th level." Well, forget it, this Emperor won't say much about the 4th level for the time being. Young man, you can start now. Defeat 100 level 7-dimensional creatures from the alternate dimension. Master 100 moves of the 100 lives of the Saber Dao. Refine 100 level 7-dimensional space creatures and make them your slaves. My disciple, work hard. After announcing these rules, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice disappeared. I understand. I completely understand. This purple trial space is a learning opportunity for me, Xiaofan. It will be of great benefit to me when I receive the inheritance of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao. That's great. This is equivalent to Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao personally teaching me. Xiaohan's face bloomed with the light of enlightenment. Then, without hesitation, Xiaofan strode towards the door of light. Let's begin. Xiaofan took a deep breath and directly pushed open the light door. In front of him, a scene appeared, in the red trial space. Bang! 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 Jia Lanzi was surrounded by thousands of level, one-dimensional creatures. However, he was surprisingly calm. He directly took out the defensive immortal robe armor, and then took out an offensive immortal artifact to kill all the level, one-dimensional creatures that surrounded him. The power of refinement. Like mountains, rivers, lakes, and seas, it poured into Jia Lanzi's body. Now, the data above Jia Lanzi's head had changed to 3213-10,000 however. After breaking out of the encirclement, Jia Lanzi did not immediately continue to search and kill these level, one-dimensional creatures. He directly searched for a secluded place. While recovering his spirit and immortal energy, he activated the power of refinement that he had just obtained to refine the immortal artifacts and treasures in his body. Jia Lanzi was not eager for quick success and instant benefits. He was fighting steadily. The situation of the other immortals. Now, there was little difference between them and Jia Lanzi. They were all seeking stability and taking one step at a time. Purple trial space. Xiaofan pushed open the light door. After a dazzling light flashed, Xiaofan was completely surprised. At this moment, Xiaofan was in a space that looked like a martial arts field. This space was about 100 meters in length and width. Moreover, even the height was about 100 meters. In other words, this martial arts field. It was similar to a completely enclosed space. In all directions, on the ground, there were incomparably ancient lines. Suddenly, Xiaofan saw a creature standing in the middle of the martial arts field. This creature. It was a woman. From the looks of it, this woman was just a young beauty. Her skin was fair and tender, and her facial features were so beautiful that it was almost demonic. She was no different from the best beauties among mortals. However, behind this woman's beautiful buttocks, there was a long tail. In addition, this woman emitted an extremely huge pressure, like the pressure of the sea, causing Xiaofan to stand there, and a terrifying feeling of fear surged. At this moment, this woman's eyes were slightly closed, as if she was sleeping. Her hands formed a finger seal. With a glimpse, Xiaofan immediately realized that the hand seal the woman was performing contained an extremely sharp saber intent. At this moment, suddenly, the woman's eyes opened. Incomparably sharp, the supreme saber light flashed directly from her eyes. Pucci, even this martial arts field space seemed to be opened by this woman's gaze. Level 7 creature from another space. So strong. Xiaofan directly took a step back. Oh, you are the disciple chosen by the owner of the invincible saber? The woman suddenly spoke, her beautiful eyes staring at Xiaofan. It's actually immortal? What a strong aura, compared to brother Jia Lanzi's aura, who knows how many times stronger. It seems that one look from her can cut me into pieces, and I can't resist at all. Xiaofan's mind flashed continuously. This is the combat power of an intermediate immortal emperor? Moreover, there are a total of 100 of such level 7 creatures from another space. Forget it, let's start the trial. The woman was not too long-winded. Listen, young man, now I will restrain and suppress my aura and power. I will only maintain the same level of energy and aura as you. Your spiritual and mental strength is very strong, but it doesn't matter. What I have mastered is the first move of the owner's 100 saber principle. I will only use this move to deal with you. If you can defeat me, then you will pass, and I will become your slave. As she spoke, the woman's aura indeed retracted a lot, and the suffocating feeling that oppressed Xiaofan began to dissipate. Okay. Xiaofan took a deep breath. I understand completely, let's begin. Just as he finished speaking, Pucci, Xiaofan did not see how the woman attacked at all. He only saw a flash of saber light in front of his eyes, and then he felt a chill on his neck, and he lost consciousness. After a few breaths, Xiaofan regained consciousness and found himself back in the small room from before. What? What does this mean? Just now, I was killed once. Xiaofan only felt that it was frightening. I didn't even have time to react, and I was killed once. This is 2F** King Strong, right? Xiaofan licked his lips. After that, he did not rush to open the light door again. Instead, he sat cross-legged and began to think of a countermeasure. Let me think about it first, are you? Chapter 684. Now, Xiaofan finally understood. He finally understood how difficult it was to temper oneself in the purple trial world. Level 7 creatures from the alternate dimension were too strong. Moreover, after they had mastered the saber Tao of the absolute saber Immortal Emperor, they were even more terrifying existences that could kill anything in their way. Amazing, too amazing. Xiaofan sat cross-legged in the small room and closed his eyes in deep thought. This time, he was not in a hurry to go out and challenge. Those guys originally had the energy of a medium Immortal Emperor, but they suppressed it. They only used the same energy as me and relied on the mystery of the saber Tao to kill me in an instant. If they didn't suppress their energy, wouldn't I turn them into dust? Xiaofan felt scared just thinking about it. But soon, Xiaofan calmed his mind and condensed his essence, qi, and spirit into a ball. He calmly thought about the countermeasures. If I took the initiative to attack, what would happen? Just now, that fellow attacked me directly, catching me off guard. If I had attacked first, given the strength of my soul and psychic energy, I might have had a chance of winning if I had used the needle-shaped weapon that had been split into two to attack. Thinking of this, Xiaofan no longer hesitated. He stood up, adjusted his breathing, walked over and pushed open the light door. Behind the light door, in the enclosed space of the battleground. The graceful woman looked at Xiaofan with a smile. There was a hint of disdain in her eyes as she shrugged. I really don't understand why the owner of the Absolute Saber chose you as his successor. He is so great, but you're just a mortal. Forget it. The thoughts of the owner of the Absolute Saber. It's not something I can guess. You can attack all you want, but I'm afraid you won't even be able to get past me. You know, in the 100 Lives Saber Tao of the owner of the Absolute Saber Tao, I have only mastered the first move. Its attack power is considered weak. You won't even be able to get past me. Don't talk so much nonsense. Xiaofan pretended to be impatient and shook his hand. His eyelids lifted and a faint murderous intent brewed in his eyes. He said, by the way, what's your name? You're a creature from the alternate dimension, but you should have your own name, right? Oh. Facing Xiaohan's question, the woman was stunned and immediately smiled. My name? There's no harm in telling you. Ever since I was subdued by the owner of the invincible blade, I was renamed as I. This is because I have mastered the first move of the 100 Lives Saber Tao. Before he finished speaking, die. Xiaofan suddenly attacked. Suddenly. The densely packed needle-shaped weapons that were as thin as the hair of a cow split into two, and then into four. With the speed of light and shadow, they shot towards the woman one world. Such a small soul weapon was simply wielding it to the extreme. Countless rays of light flashed and arrived in front of one world. Despicable. Nashir shouted. However, at this moment, the disdain in her eyes quickly disappeared. Instead, it was replaced with seriousness and astonishment. She had not expected Xiaohan's soul attack to be this powerful. In the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint, one world's delicate body flashed slightly and dodged Xiaohan's soul needle-shaped weapon attack. Then, with a slash of her fingers, the profound trajectory of the saber Dao flashed past. Bang! Xiaohan's body was once again smashed into pieces by the saber Dao. Trying to defeat me with sneak attacks and speed. That's just wishful thinking. This was the last sentence Xiaohan heard before he lost consciousness. In the primordial secret chamber, Xiaohan quickly regained consciousness. He was resurrected. What should I do? Even my strongest attack can't kill her. Xiaohan was completely speechless. Could it be that I have to use the saber qi after transforming into a dragon? Xiaohan licked his lips. That's my final trump card. Once I use the saber qi, my solid mental power planet will dry up, and all the essence, qi, and spirit in my body will be drained. It will take a long time for me to recover. Xiaohan felt a sense of powerlessness and defeat. However, Xiaohan would not give up so easily. He sat down cross-legged again and concentrated on thinking. Wait. Suddenly, an idea flashed through Xiaohan's mind. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao wants me to train and learn. He wants me to challenge 100 level, 7 creatures from the alternate dimension and master his 100 lives saber Dao. In other words, that's right. That means, the reason I want to defeat these level 7-dimensional creatures is not because I want to use other methods to defeat them, but because I want to learn the way of the sword they control. I want to give them a taste of their own medicine and defeat them with the way of the 100 lives sword. Xiaohan figured out the crux of it. Then, Xiaohan focused his mind and began to recall the trajectory of the saber Dao that he had used in his previous life. At the same time, Xiaohan used his right hand as a saber and began to practice while recalling. As Xiaohan recalled and practiced, strands of supreme saber qi appeared in the air. Moreover, the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's saber Dao inheritance jade plate in Xiaohan's dantian also began to throb. After a few hundred breaths, Xiaohan opened his eyes, and there was a flash of saber light in his pupils. I've roughly grasped the general outline of this move, but I still need to watch it a few more times. Xiaohan nodded, then pushed open the light door again and entered it. This time, in that life, Xiaohan was still killed with one slash. However, Xiaohan did not resist at all. He focused all his mind power and observed the trajectory of the 100 lives saber Dao without blinking. He was experiencing the profoundness and greatness of this move. When Xiaohan visualized this saber move, the inheritance jade plate in his dantian would also transmit some thoughts to Xiaohan, helping him to understand the profoundness of this move. Just like that, Xiaohan was killed dozens of times in a row. Finally, in the starting room, Xiaohan's right index and middle fingers drew a stroke. This stroke derived a perfect trajectory of the saber Dao. This was a trajectory that was almost integrated with the Dao. The saber qi was condensed and cut the space into pieces. This is the first move of the 100 lives saber Dao. That's about it. I have complete control over it now. I can use it as I please. What I lack is nothing more than a little bit of control and battle experience. Furthermore, the inheritance jade pendant will also help me repair the flaws of this saber technique, making this saber technique smooth. Xiaohan pushed open the light door again. Challenge. This time, Xiaohan and the 100 lives saber Dao released. In the end, Xiaohan's attack was a step slower than the 100 lives saber Dao, and he was killed by the 100 lives saber Dao first. Again. Xiaohan digested the gains and losses of the previous battle. His saber Dao seemed to have become more profound. The more he fought, the braver he became. Bang! This time, although Xiaohan was killed again, his saber move almost killed the 100 lives saber Dao. Puff! Puff! Another clash. Xiaohan was cut into two at the waist. However, the 100 lives saber Dao was also cut. Her left arm was directly cut into pieces by Xiaohan's saber qi. The 100 lives saber Dao seemed to be able to repair herself in the purple trial world. In the following clash, her broken left arm was as good as new. In the following clash, Xiaofan's control of the saber move became more and more skilled. His control of the heat became more and more precise. He learned a lot about the use of this move from the 100 Lives Saber Dao. In the end, Xiaofan and the 100 Lives Saber Dao were evenly matched. The speed and trajectory of the two's moves were almost the same. In this way, although Xiaofan could not kill the 100 Lives Saber Dao and the 100 Lives Saber Dao would still be killed by the 100 Lives Saber Dao. The last clash, Xiaofan and the 100 Lives Saber Dao moved at the same time. The trajectory of Xiaofan's Saber Dao actually surpassed the 100 Lives Saber Dao. In all aspects, the 100 Lives Saber Dao was better than the 100 Lives Saber Dao. Finally, the 100 Lives Saber Dao was beheaded. I finally succeeded. Xiaofan heaved a sigh of relief. At this moment, puff puff puff, boundless light scattered from the 100 Lives Saber Dao and merged into Xiaofan's dantian. It was the power of refinement. The boiling power of refinement hit the inheritance jade plate in the dantian. Puff, the inheritance jade plate was blasted open a small gap. Suddenly, some Saber Dao profoundness gushed out from this gap. Xiaofan did not care much. He immediately sat cross-legged and comprehended the Saber Dao that seeped out from the inheritance jade plate. Xiaofan entered a profound state of no sorrow or joy, no man and no self. These Saber Dao profoundness were a deeper understanding of the first move of the 100 Lives Saber Dao. After Xiaofan absorbed these Saber Dao profoundness, finally, the first move of the 100 Lives Saber Dao that he learned from the 100 Lives Saber Dao was close to perfection. Now, if Xiaofan used this move to fight against the 100 Lives Saber Dao, he could easily kill her. However, the prerequisite was that the 100 Lives Saber Dao profoundness had to suppress her energy realm to the same realm as Xiaofan. Comprehension complete. Xiaofan's face lit up and he stood up. At this moment, Xiaofan saw the 100 Lives Saber Dao profoundness standing at the side with an obedient expression on her face. Just now, although Xiaofan had killed the 100 Lives Saber Dao profoundness, the 100 Lives Saber Dao profoundness was resurrected. Hello, new master. The 100 Lives Saber Dao profoundness smiled sweetly. Her eyes were filled with submission. Moreover, it was very strange. Xiaofan also felt that his soul and the 100 Lives Saber Dao profoundness had an inseparable feeling. He had also established an extremely deep master-servant relationship. This feeling was just like Yen Lang back then. Xiaofan already knew that now, the level 7 alternate dimension creature had completely become his slave. After leaving the immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, he could order her to do anything he wanted. An intermediate immortal emperor slave. Xiaofan only felt as if he had entered a dream world. However, everything was so real. Forget it, don't be too complacent. There are still a total of 99 level 7 alternate dimension creatures that I need to challenge and defeat. Xiaofan quickly gathered his thoughts. He smiled at the 100 Lives Saber Dao profoundness. With a thought, the 100 Lives Saber Dao profoundness turned into a divine sense. Like a flowing light, like a rainbow, it directly entered Xiaofan's mind. Looking inside himself, the 100 Lives Saber Dao profoundness was sitting cross-legged on the spiritual energy star in his sea of consciousness, nourishing his soul. Done. Xiaofan smiled with satisfaction. Then, in front of this enclosed battleground space, another light door appeared. Xiaofan directly walked over and pushed open the light door. To be continued. Chapter 685. The third level of the Zhu Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure trove was progressing in an orderly manner. The first level, the Red Trial World. Bang! With a wave of his hand, Jia Lanzi easily killed a group of level 1-dimensional creatures. It's finally done, Jia Lanzi smiled in satisfaction. At this time, the data above Jia Lanzi's head was already shining brightly. 1010 Jia Lanzi fought in the red trial world and finally killed 100 level 1-dimensional creatures, obtaining the opportunity to be transported to the orange trial world. At this time, boom, boom, boom. Brilliant lights and vibrant colors. Rays of glass-like spatial teleportation power fell from the sky like a waterfall, directly washing over Jia Lanzi's body. Jia Lanzi's body also began to fly up. He slowly entered the orange trial world of the second level. Alright, now let's enter the orange trial world to take a look. One step at a time, steadily and surely. Jia Lanzi smiled slightly. Now, by killing these 100 level 1-dimensional creatures, Jia Lanzi had obtained a lot of refining power. Now, out of the tens of thousands of immortal treasures in his dantian, he had already refined and controlled as many as 38. Moreover, among these 38 immortal treasures, some were of extremely high quality. The Orange Trial World. An immortal who entered the Orange Trial World had also killed a total of 100 level 2-dimensional creatures, refining and controlling hundreds of immortal treasures in his body. He was transported to the Yellow Trial World. The Yellow Trial World was a great desert. Rampaging in the Yellow Trial World. It was a type of desert creature. In other words, it was a level 3-dimensional creature. It was an immortal. As soon as he entered the Yellow Trial World, he was immediately surrounded by a group of desert creatures in the vast desert. These desert creatures were covered in yellow scales. They bared their teeth, had sharp horns on their heads, and had large bloody mouths. Their pores spewed out layers of bloody aura. With a slight shake of their huge bodies, they could transform into various desert beasts, such as sand crabs, desert foxes, and so on. It could be said that they were very powerful. Fuck, the immortal couldn't help but curse. This Yellow Trial World's desert creature, a level 3 alternate dimension creature, is actually much stronger than the Orange Trial World's metallic life form. It's equivalent to a level 4 true immortal. Kill. Kill this adventurer. A group of desert creatures turned into afterimages. Layer upon layer, they charged towards the immortal. A desert creature comparable to a level 4 true immortal. Not only was his speed extremely fast, but his aura was also giving off a terrifying oppressive might. The immortal's heart palpitated. In terms of cultivation level, that immortal was actually only a level 2 true immortal. Only, he possessed some immortal artifacts and magic treasures that could allow him to fight those on a higher level than him. Thus, in the Orange Trial World, he was able to deal with the metallic life form that was equivalent to a level 3 true immortal. And now, the desert creatures were the equivalent of level 4 true immortals. If they were to charge at him one by one, it would still be fine. However, if they were to charge at him in large numbers all at once, the true immortals would not be able to handle it. Get lost. Filthy creatures. Get out of my sight. The immortal did not dare to be careless. He immediately consumed his immortal chi to activate a powerful magic treasure that he had just refined not long ago, and shattered the group of desert creatures that were charging at him. The violent refining power rushed into the immortal's body. Above his head, a string of numbers appeared. However, activating the immortal artifact just now had consumed a lot of his energy. His face was slightly pale, and he did not dare to be careless. He immediately moved his body and fled. This is too terrifying. In other words, if I want to pass the trial and enter the green trial world above, I'll have to kill a total of 1,000 desert creatures. That's equivalent to killing 1,000 level 4 true immortals. The immortal was extremely bitter. I can't even kill a desert creature with my own combat strength and immortal spells. I have to use a magic treasure. However, activating these magic treasures that can kill those on a higher level consumes too much of my energy. If I'm lucky and encounter a lone desert creature, it'll be fine. However, if I encounter a swarm of desert creatures, hundreds or thousands of them, even if I use a magic treasure, I won't be able to fight them. Instead, I'll be killed. As soon as he thought of this, yellow sand surged in front of him. Rumble. Rumble. The sound of the iron hooves of thousands of soldiers and horses rumbled in the air. The immortal was so frightened that he immediately scanned the area with his immortal sense. What? 456 desert creatures? The immortal's face was pale with fright. He turned around and activated an escaping celestial artifact and slipped away. Difficult, the difficulty of the trial has increased. The immortal's face was full of bitterness. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's most precious magic treasures were placed in the green, cyan, blue, and purple trial worlds. The level 4 creatures in the green trial world above are definitely more powerful than the desert creatures in the level 3 alternate space. I'm afraid they're as powerful as level 5 true immortals. How am I supposed to kill them? Gradually, the immortal began to grow disheartened. He could sense that perhaps he was not fated to get those precious treasures. The purple trial world. Xiaofan's trial world. After pushing open the door of light, there was another sealed martial field. The person who appeared in front of Xiaofan was a man who held a saber in his hand. He had a scholarly air about him. His eyes occasionally shot out a sharp saber light. Just like in this life, this man also had a tail behind him. Oh? The successor chosen by the owner of the invincible saber? The scholarly man looked at Xiaofan in surprise. Mortal? It was actually a mortal? Wait a minute, the fact that you were able to reach this place means that you defeated the One Era? This. Oh, you should be called second generation, right? He has mastered the second move of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's 100 Lives Saber Dao, Xiaofan said with interest. Heh, the scholarly man flicked his fingernails and said. That's right, I'm the second. All right. Let the trial begin. However, mortals, you have to remember that the second stroke of the 100 Lives Knife Dao of the Invincible Saber Master is far more powerful and mysterious than the first stroke. You can defeat me once, but you might not be able to defeat me twice. All right. Let's begin. Realm Suppression. With a rumble, this second life suppressed the cultivation base around him. Then, he waved his hand. A saber trace like an antelope's horn slashed towards Xiaofan. This stroke was like a falling meteor, like a demon descending to the world. Bang! Xiaofan did not even have time to react, and his body was directly torn into pieces. Another death. Xiaofan was resurrected in the secret initiation room. Too powerful. This second generation is several times more powerful than the first. No, it should not be said that the second generation is more powerful than the first, but, the second stroke of the 100 Lives Knife Dao. More powerful and mysterious than the first stroke. Xiaofan realized that the more he challenged, the more powerful his opponent would be. The more powerful his opponent would be. However, with the experience of defeating the first generation, Xiaofan was no longer nervous and confused at this moment. He also had a plan to deal with it. Just like the first generation, what I need to do is to learn the Saber Dao that the second generation has mastered. Therefore, Xiaofan pushed open the light door again and entered the enclosed battleground to face the second generation. Next, Xiaofan was miserably killed by the second generation 98 times. Every time, Xiaofan carefully observed the second generation's attack method, trajectory, and route, and combined it with the feedback from the inheritance jade pendant in his dantian. Xiaofan slowly figured out the path of the second stroke of the 100 Lives Knife Dao. On the 99th time, Xiaofan was barely able to execute this stroke. Although he was still killed, Xiaofan was able to execute this stroke on his own before he died. On the 121st time, Xiaofan was able to exchange blows with the second generation. Although he died, he was able to injure the second generation's limbs. On the 135th time, Xiaofan and the second generation were both injured, and Xiaofan was killed, but only slightly weaker. On the 140th time, Xiaofan used the second stroke of the 100 Lives Knife Dao to kill the second generation. Then, a large amount of refining power burst out of the second generation's body and rushed into Xiaohan's dantian, melting a part of the restrictions on the inheritance jade pendant, and feeding back some of the tricks of the second stroke of the 100 Lives Knife Dao, allowing Xiaofan to perfectly control the second stroke. However, the second generation did not really die. Like the first generation, he was resurrected after being killed by Xiaofan, and became Xiaohan's slave. Then, he was kept into the solidified mental energy star in his sea of consciousness. Good. This is really good. Tempering myself in this purple trial space is a great thing for me. Xiaohan's eyes were resolute. He took a few steps forward and continued to push open the next light door. After defeating the first generation and the second generation, Xiaohan's mental aura was becoming more and more tyrannical. He had the demeanor of a super powerhouse. He had developed a boundless domineering aura. In the orange trial space, Jia Lanzi was facing a level 2 alien space creature, a metallic life form. He relied on the immortal artifact that he controlled to deal with it perfectly. He killed the metallic lifeforms with ease. Jia Lanzi took out an immortal sword and pierced the heads of 4 metallic lifeforms. Then, the number above his head also became 54561000000. This is great. The power of refinement obtained from killing one of these metallic lifeforms is 100 times that of killing a level 1 alternate dimension creature. Jia Lanzi was extremely satisfied with this trial. After obtaining the power of refinement, he had madly tried to control the immortal treasures piled up in his dantian. Now, he had selectively controlled hundreds of immortal treasures. As for the other 2 immortals, they had entered the orange trial world from the very beginning. After killing over 1,000 metallic lifeforms, they had smoothly entered the yellow trial world. However, the desert lifeforms that were as strong as level 4 true immortals brought great trouble to these 2 immortals. When they encountered the swarm of desert creatures, the 2 immortals didn't dare to fight them. They immediately fled for their lives. Later, when they encountered a small number of desert creatures, they would use their artifacts and consume their immortal force to kill them. Now, these 2 immortals had killed 432 desert lifeforms, while the other had killed 511. They were still very far from the goal of 100. Fortunately, every time they killed a desert life form, they obtained a huge amount of refining power. Currently, the 2 immortals had quite a number of immortal artifacts under their control. Even if they withdrew from the trial now, they would still benefit greatly. However, they would not withdraw easily. They did their best to hunt, wanting to enter a higher-level green trial space. It could be said that the 6 of them, including Xiaofan, each had their own fortuitous encounters, and they were all in full swing. To be continued. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.